And we are back. Oh my goodness, ladies and gentlemen, how I have missed every single one of you. Folks, welcome back to another episode of The Good, the Mad, the Ugly. I am, of course, your host, Mab, aka Spencer, aka that annoying weeb that hangs out in all of your servers or bugs you on Twitter. And I am so glad to be back, guys. Yes, we took a week break last week because I had something to do. I will talk about it. If you guys followed me on Twitter or you checked out the community tab over the weekend, you know exactly what went down. Lots of exciting stuff. So we will get to that. But aside from that, there has been just so much just geek entertainment, tokusatsu anime news that we just need to get through. Obviously, last week was San Diego Comic-Con. We got a lot of news out of that convention. Obviously, the big subject we're going to probably be talking about tonight is Robert Downey Jr. as Dr. Doom. If you guys know me, I'm sure you guys already know what my thoughts are on that. We also have, pardon me, I want to talk a little bit about Deadpool and Wolverine. I saw the movie. I just want to talk about my thoughts on it. There's also a bunch of comic book stuff we've got to get through this week. We have a new Zeb Wells Spider-Man. We have a new upgrade to Spider-Gwen. We have a new Ultimate Spider-Man issue, which was just absolutely incredible. So we've got a bunch to get into tonight. I'm excited to be hanging out with every single one of you once again. So with that being said, let's get into it tonight. As always, let's start off by saying hello to everybody that is in the chat. Obviously, right now, we've only got a few of you, but that doesn't matter. I am happy to just be hanging out with any of you. Tonight, we are starting off with Tehillim in the house saying shalom and good to see you all. Might miss today's stream as I have the last movie in relation to the free Iwatabi Swim Club to finish off. Should I have time upon completion to drop by after it's finished, you'll see me then. Hey, man, have fun. I gotta, there's something going on with my, background here. I don't know why it's going all weird and fuzzy and not getting enough light. Maybe I can pull it closer. I don't know. Maybe it'll take care of itself eventually. Let's see. Who knows? Anyway, Tehillim, yeah, no, go have fun. I'm glad to see you, buddy. I'm glad you could stop by. And, yeah, let me know what your thoughts are when you're done with the movie. Obviously, you'll probably post them to your YouTube channel. But, of course, I am always interested. Oh, give me 1 second. I need to turn the fan on in my room. I was like, why is it so hot? I think I might need to do a little Kamen Rider transformation and go into my summer wear because I forgot how hot it is in this room. Again, 1 week, I take a 1 week break and I completely lose my entire flow of how to do this show. So, let me change. So damn hot. Okay, there we go. All better. Tank topped out. We are in stream mode now. God, I cannot wait until summer is over. But we don't need to talk about my fashion choices. Let's keep going. Also, we have Zero here saying I is here. What is going on, Zero, my man? Dude, folks, if you guys aren't following Zero on Twitch, he just started a new game. He is playing Halo for the very first time, and I'm pretty excited because we've talked about it on this show before, but Halo is one of my absolute favorite video game series of all time, at least the original Bungie, not quadrilogy, what do you call it? Pentalogy, I guess, because you got Halo 1, 2, 3, Reach, and ODST, so whatever word you want to use for that, those are the best games, I love them so much. Yeah, Zero says, finally started the game that redefined FPS. See, I hate when people, I don't know if you're saying that jokingly, Zero, but, so many people say, oh, it redefined FPSs, and it didn't redefine them. It really just brought them into a more, and I mean this in the nicest way possible, a more casualized setting, right? Things like, no dedicated run button, swapping only having 2 weapons to swap from, things like that. Rechargeable health. Those were all things that sort of got kicked off in Halo. FPSs were already really fantastic before that game came out, and there have been way more amazing ones that have come out since. But yeah, I just Halo was good for bringing FPSs sort of to the masses in a good way, like not in the, oh, we're changing things for a modern audience kind of way, but for the like, okay, this might be a little complicated, let's see how we can, streamline things to make it more accessible. So it was really good. It was really good in that regard. But yeah, overall as a game, as a franchise, I love Halo. Honestly, I think you get more out of it if you delve into things like the novels, because that's where, they got sci-fi legends like Eric Nyland to come and flesh out everything. So there's just a lot to unpack there. But again, the second Bungie leaves the franchise, the game, like the franchise goes immediately downhill. One of the things, I've talked about this before, and we talked about what did we talk about before? I think we talked about the Halo TV show a couple, like, months ago or something. But the thing that really, what you can see, like, the difference in the philosophies between Bungie and 343, because Bungie treats Halo as, yes, we're in space, but it's still like a war story. Humanity is losing. We are desperate. We are trying to find weapons. There's nothing special about the fact that the Covenant are trying to wipe us out, except for the fact that we're in their way. In the TV show, or not in the TV show, in the 343 games, it turns into the Master Chief is a chosen individual. He's got the special Forerunner, like, hybrid DNA. Oh my gosh, he's the best. No wonder he's going to save everyone. And to me, that sort of just isn't Halo. Halo shouldn't be about... Halo at its core should not be about, like, super secret, ancient superheroes that were destined, right? Halo should be a story about humanity losing. Like, humanity, except for, like, at the very end when humanity wins, like, humanity should never be sort of like the victors. That's why I hate when the Spartans now are they're basically like Iron Men. They kind of lost the plot because that's casualizing it in a bad way, right? The Halo games casualized FPSs by making it smoother for more people to play, more accessible, bringing down, condensing your game systems in a way that doesn't require everybody to sit down and, like, learn everything. Halo is very pick up and play. And nowadays they're casualizing it by going, what appeals to everybody? Rainbow, like, colored armor for everybody. And I don't mean like Pride armor. I mean, like, there's 400 million cosmetic options, and there are, gosh, what is it? Like, we're open world now. Just everything that's wrong with Infinite is what's wrong with all of the series, with all the franchise. Y'all don't need me to break down the Halo stuff. It is unfortunately one of those series that is kind of, it is what it is. I mean, if you checked out the most recent news, one sec, it is hot here today, guys. Like, I am not joking. So I'll be sucking down Darjeeling with... It's one of my favorite Toy Story lines. But the most recent news surrounding Halo is, I don't know if you guys remember, but at the beginning of the year, there were rumors that 343 Industries was going to start, like, not... What's the right term for this? Like, 343 Industries would continue overseeing the creative, like, franchise direction of Halo, but the actual development of the games, they were going to start piecemealing out to other studios, essentially saying, we can't make a good Halo game, we got to let somebody else, like, take a crack at it. Back in January, 343 came out. We're like, no, that's definitely not what we're doing. We're still here, blah, blah, blah. A month ago, a new rumor popped up that that reiterated, like, oh, that's what they said, but they are now going through with it. So we'll see what happens, but it's not, that's all to say, we're not in a really good spot for the Halo franchise. Obviously, the live action TV series was canceled. The video games are doing poorly. So all in all, I'm glad to see Zero playing the original Halo, because that is a damn fine video game, and it's just a damn good time. I'm having fun sort of nostalgically watching him play, and yeah, I'm excited for him to get to 2, 3, and all the rest of them. So welcome aboard, Zero. That was my whole long spiel for that. Let's keep going. Let's see. Yes, Andrews here says, Mav hasn't played Xenoblade in so long, I thought I saw him in the Paris Olympics opening ceremony. I did get my guest invite. That actually was not me, though. That was the only, there are only 3 Asian people, and we all trade spots. I had to sub in because I was busy, but I did get my invite for it, having not played Xenoblade. Yes, guys, I know, I'm going to vent for just a second. I want to play video games so bad. I have the worst schedule in my life right now. It is a nightmare to get anything done personally. Like, I have no time to rest on my own. We'll get into what I did last week, but that was like I was running on fumes. I was exhausted. So I really want to play video games again. I want to play Xenoblade Chronicles, but I somebody help me. Somebody help me get my time back, because I clearly just do not know how to manage it well enough to, or and I can't open it up like at all to do anything. So save me, clock stoppers. I don't know. Somebody send me some time travel powers. That's what I need. All right. We also got Timon in the house. Timon, my friend, where's my Sandrock update? I thought you said we were going to get an update on your kit today. So where is it? I've been excited for it. Andrew also says, Halo Combat Evolved made console FPS popularized in a whole new way. Yeah, that's sort of what I was talking about with that streamlining sort of thing, right? Again, PC shooters, you have mouse and keyboard, and it's really, that's a lot to get into for a casual or a non-gamer. And then you add into that the weapon swapping and the constant, I only have 2 hits. Oh, I got hit once. I can't really like experiment. Now I'm dead. Like all of that stuff. It's fun if you know how to play video games, but if you don't, it's really daunting. And then so Halo just had this really good way of streamlining it. And again, I think I believe that a lot of that had to do with the fact that they were developing it for Macs originally. I don't know if you guys know that, but Halo started life as a Mac exclusive game before eventually being abandoned by Apple and Bungie going over and going, hey, Microsoft, you want to help us out? And they went, all right, put that on the Xbox. Let's do that. So we've also got Shinkai. What is up, my amigo? Always a pleasure to have a fellow weeb in the chat. Then, yeah, Andrew, I haven't played shit in weeks. Yeah, I genuinely, I don't know, man. It is so, now we're getting into grumpy old, middle-aged man corner, which is, the kids these days, and I can't play my video games, and I have taxes and rents to pay, and raga saga. Like, it's just part of, like, part and parcel of being an adult. Doesn't mean it's fun, but yeah, I have so many video games to play that I want to play that I just don't have the time. Again, this is why I joke but not joke about, can I just get really sick and recover from it for like 6 months or something so I can just sit and do stuff. I am actually, so spoiler alert for some scheduling things that we'll talk about next week or in the coming weeks, but so obviously you guys know me, I'm Filipino. I go back home pretty often, or not home, but back to the home country, visit family like once a year at least. So my annual trip is coming up next month, and I am mainly excited for the fact that, or like not mainly, but one of the things that really excites me about that is that I get to spend like 14, 15 hours on a plane, and I can just sit, I can just read comic books. There's no internet on these international flights, at least not any that I can do like bounding work on, right? Good luck loading a YouTube video. So like I just use the travel time to hang out, not even watch movies, just read. So that like we need to go, America needs to go a little Italian and adopt we work for 2 hours, we take a 4-hour break, we work for another hour, we take a 7-hour break, then it's the weekend. Like that's the work schedule I would like to get to. All right. Yeah, guys, I'm so happy to be back. Last week was something. So before we get into anything, any real topics, if you will, I gotta pull up some images. Where are these images? I know I sent them to myself. They've gotta be somewhere. Bum bum bum. Okay, got it. So, before we go into any of our main topics today, let's have, I want to take a moment and let's talk. So, last week was the San Diego Comic-Con, arguably the biggest comic book nerd convention in the world, held in San Diego, my hometown. In case you guys didn't see on Twitter and on and on the community tab here, last week, the reason there was no show is because I actually got invited to go to host a panel last week at San Diego Comic-Con. So before we delve into that, yes, we have. I'm going to address my stream buddy. This is Jubilee, the best, my ex-waifu, as drawn by the one and only Iban Cobello for the Marvel Zero collection of the Marvel Free Comic Book Day stories that they put out last week. He's amazing. He drew her. How could I think I told this to Andrew as soon as he showed me the cover. I was like, that's a stream buddy if I've ever seen one. So Jubilee will be hanging out with us this week. It's going to be, I'm just happy to see her. I'm happy to hang out with Iban. And now back to your regularly scheduled content. So yeah, last week I actually got invited to go host a panel at the San Diego Comic-Con, or moderate it rather, not host, because it was being hosted by the convention. So the panel was, as you can see down here, Red Dead's History Q&A. Basically, there is a professor out of the University of Tennessee. His name is Tori Olson, who during the pandemic, he started reading, or he started playing Red Dead because he was locked inside. And he went, this is really interesting. This is really accurate to, or like, I'm really intrigued by the history angle of this. So he started delving into how accurate was Rockstar, what was real, what wasn't. And in that sort of hobby exploration, he got inspired to do a book where he breaks down, here's what Rockstar did in Red Dead, here's what real life was like. Let's compare, contrast, see what they did right, wrong, all that sort of fun stuff. And after writing the book, he got none other than the voice of Arthur Morgan himself, Roger Clark, to do the audiobook. So if you pick up Tori Olson's book and you get the audiobook, you'll hear the history of the West as narrated to you by Arthur Morgan himself. So last week, or about 2 weeks ago now, I'm sitting at home and I'm just, it's like a Sunday evening, I'm hanging out. I get an email from, I get an email out of the blue that says, hey, I'm from Macmillan Publishing. We are looking for a moderator for a Comic-Con panel coming up this week. And we got your name, and we would love to have you come out. If you want to talk, let us know. And I'm sitting there and I'm going, this is a scam. Like, I fully believe that if I was going to reply to this, I was going to get hit back with like that, $20, make 40 hours a week or $40 a week sitting from home, like the Indian tech phishing spam type of email. That's genuinely what I thought I was getting. So I emailed them back and I said, hey, this sounds like a great opportunity. I'd love to talk. If you don't mind, can I ask how you got my name? Can you tell, like, how did you get a hold of me? And the contact over at Macmillan, she replied and she said, oh yeah, we were looking for journalists in the San Diego area. And I know I'm loath to use that term because it's just been so, it's not worth anything anymore after the last after the last 8-10 years, the word journalist sucks. But that's what she used. And she said, we were looking for geek nerd reporters in the San Diego area, and your name popped up, and we thought we would, send you an invite. Funny enough, in case you guys don't remember the deep Mav lore, I used to live in San Diego. I had to move during the pandemic because I lost my job and all of this stuff. But I don't use my LinkedIn because there's no reason for me to. So I've never updated it. So it still says I'm in San Diego. So that's how they got a hold of me. But long story short, I said yes, we talked. I made my way out there to San Diego. They gave me a full 4-day, industry badge. I got to explore the floor. I got to hang out. I got to go search, all the long boxes and stuff. It was a great time. And then the panel was amazing. It was, I got up on stage here. Let's see, where is my next visual aid, please? In case y'all don't believe me, it was awesome. I got to get up here on stage. I got to, introduce Roger, introduce Tori, talk about the book. The room was completely packed. Nobody was there were no people waiting for the next panel. There were no people waiting, just trying to find a place to sit down. Everybody who was in this panel was 1000% super engaged in what these guys had to talk about. And so, yeah, we talked American history. We talked motion capture work. We talked the process of making an audiobook, just lots of really interesting stuff. And honestly, guys, I don't know about you, but when I got this offer and I heard, oh, we're doing an audiobook Q&A at Comic-Con, I thought to myself, like, it's cool. I'd be interested in it, but is this going to draw a big Comic-Con crowd? And sure enough, packed. Obviously, you can see in this photo there were cosplayers. Like, it was a whole big to do. So it was, honestly, it was just one of the best, coolest. It was a monumental moment for me in sort of my life, because I think, I believe I've told everybody this before, but I have been going to I started going to Comic-Con when I was around 7 to 10 years old. I know it's kind of a range, but my memory, we're getting up there. It was one of those ages. But back in the day when I was going to Comic-Con as a kid, you could walk up to the front entrance of the convention center in San Diego and buy a ticket for $20. The entire hall wasn't even open for everybody to do anything. Like, it was just one couple rows of the hall. Fast forward, as the years go on, it gets bigger, more comic books get bigger, video games get bigger, everything just starts, snowballing. Then we get things like the MCU, then we get things like Twilight, then we, all of these big sort of franchise film stuff like that starts snowballing and bringing in bigger audiences. And over the years, the convention sort of just spiraled out of control. It went from, this is for like nerds to hang out with, or like at, and talk about things they actually love, and, buy merch for things that they were really excited for, to, hey, here's a booth from CBS for the new episode of, or like the next season of The Goldbergs. Aren't you guys so excited for that? Hey, come check out this panel for the next romantic comedy from Universal Pictures. Like, it got, for not to sound so pretentious, but it got corporate as hell. Like, it felt really crappy. And along with that, part of what made it so crappy was prices started getting exorbitant, right? Like, $100, sure, that was fine for 4 days back as a teenager. $150, I could pay that. I understand. $200, getting a little pricey, but sure, $50 a day. The tickets are at like $500, $600 for the weekend now, right? Like, that $100 a day just to get in. Like, I couldn't I started like getting to the point where I was just like, this is insane. So about 10 years ago, I skipped my first Comic-Con ever because my best friend, she was getting married, and her wedding was on the exact same weekend as Comic-Con. And of course I'm going to go to that and not Comic-Con. But it was sort of one of those great serendipitous moments where I was like, all right, this is a good excuse. This is a good reason for me to not do this anymore. This gives me an out. So 10 years ago, I said goodbye, haven't really gone back. I've gone back to the area around Comic-Con because, like, yeah, I probably will, Reeve, but yeah, so the, like, I've been back around to the area of, like, Comic-Con because now it's not so much contained in the hall. It is everywhere in downtown San Diego. Like, it's in hotels and restaurants and different pop-up venues and all that sort of stuff. So I've gone and checked out that stuff, but I've never, for the last 10 years, I haven't gone into the hall. So to do this, to come back to the convention as not just an attendee, but a presenter, as an industry person, was just, it was wild. And just being up on stage, it was so cool. I still have, you can see there's like a name placard for me up there. I still have it. I don't know. It was just a really, 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 really cool moment that I'm just sort of taking a victory lap at this point, because I'm still sort of in disbelief that it even happened. I mean, was that the right window? Yeah, there you can see me with the author on the left, Tori Olson, Roger Clark, Arthur Morgan himself on my, or I guess in the photo it's on the right and left, but in real life, if I'm facing this way, Tori's on my right, Roger's on my left. So it was just an absolutely bonkers experience to be up there. And aside from that, just Comic-Con in general, it's nice to be in environments like that. Do you guys know what I mean? Like, just in an environment where everybody is sort of, no judgment. Everybody's sort of into what you're, people want to buy comic books. People are interested in floppies and stuff. Like, it's so nice just to, get, again, this is something I think we all need to remember. We got to get off of the internet occasionally, because you can go have a good time and remember that there are still things that about all of these hobbies that we love that are out there to enjoy, even if it's just talking with fans about, oh yeah, this run was awful, this run was great, oh, I like this artist, which I did 900 different times just looking through all these long boxes. Side note, I'm so sad. I think I talked to a few of you about this, but one of my favorite things at Comic-Con used to be, so the hall kind of does a gradient of its booth, right? At one end of the hall, you've got all of the very, very big, like DC, Marvel, Sony, Hasbro, like all the big booths are over here. And then as you keep going, you start getting into smaller and smaller booths. So you go Marvel, DC, Nickelodeon, maybe Sideshow Collectibles, Viz, Dark Horse, Image. Then you get to like J. Scott Campbell's booth, Alex Ross's booth, and then web comics, indie publications, stuff like that. And then at the very far end of the convention is what we like to call the boonies, which are just independent retailers from around the area who bring their wares and say, everybody come take a look at what you need. And I was really excited because there used to be booths all around the boonies area where people would sell comic books like trades for half off cover price, and it was nuts. And then you could even bargain with them if they wanted. And it was, as I kind of learned a couple weeks ago, they were doing it to get rid of their old stock and make room for new ones. But hey, I'll take advantage of the fact that you're trying to, throw things out. This year they weren't I don't know when they left. Again, it's been 10 years, but they're not there anymore. I was heartbroken. You don't have these big, 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 long comic book booths of just trades and hardcovers and everything. Again, I'm sure it's a sign of the changing times because manga is way bigger nowadays. Comic books as a whole, as a business, are sort of faltering. I get it. It's just one of those like come to like face reality moments that really was a bummer. Also, what the hell? Like, I'm so angry that like I went to go look for more like foil covers, just single issues of books out in the boonies. Everything, you would think that going direct to these people on the show floor, I could get some sort of, they'd be selling the books for a little cheaper than they would at, on the shelves. No, they're all like either the exact price or they are like $1 more. I remember I went up to this one booth and I saw that they had an entire box of foil variants. And I was like, ooh, look, there's the foil facsimile edition of Dazzler. There's the Wolverine foil that I've been looking for, like all this stuff. Like, oh, this is so great. And I went, hey man, how much are these? And he's like, $10 each for each foil variant. I'm like, dude, I can get these for $7 easy, like from Things from Another World. So I'm like, no sale, my friend. So it's just, I miss, and I think I think it has something to do with the hunter-gatherer part of our monkey brain that clearly is not being used anymore because we are modern man and I can just go to the grocery store. But the element of going to look for something and, hunting, like searching through things and going to different locations and looking through all the racks and stuff, and then finding something, whether it was like a steal that you didn't think you were going to find or exactly what you were looking for and getting a deal on it or something, like that is so rare nowadays with the advent of the internet that it's just sort of a bummer because I miss doing that at Comic-Con, going, oh, I want this issue. I'm going to go down and I'm going to find it. And yeah, like I think sadly here, I only bought one comic actually the entire time I was there. Yeah, I only bought one comic the entire time I was there because, whoa, there goes my green screen. Scaring my dog. Hi, buddy. Sorry about that. Someday, guys, my setup will be less stupid as hell. Anyway, yeah, like this is the only thing I bought was Capcom did a Darkstalkers tribute issue a couple weeks ago. And the artist Ray Q did a cover with Morgan and Felicia, and they were selling it at the Capcom booth, and I snagged it. And I mostly just snagged it because I happened to be walking by their booth at this time when nobody was there, and I bumped into a table that I wasn't expecting to. Like, I'm looking at the merch booth, da 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 da. I step back, and I go, oh, there's a table here. And I turn around, and Ray Q is there. So I'm like, dude, I gotta get something signed. Like, if he's just sitting right the hell there. So this was sadly my only real Comic-Con pickup, because everything else I know I can find way cheaper. Thanks, Biden. Thanks for your inflation. No, I'm completely kidding. It's not even that. It is just things are expensive and we don't have money to blast around everywhere. So all in all, that is where I was last week. That is why we didn't have a show. Last Friday, where was I? Let's see. Thursday, I hopped in the car. Wednesday, after the bounding stream, I hopped in the car, drove out to California, worked out there on my laptop and stuff, ping-ponged around, darted around the city. And yeah, I was not around. I was busy. So that's what I was doing. I'm thankful to every single one of you out there, because I really couldn't have done this without you, whether that was you guys supporting me over here and giving my personal, Spencer Mav brand a bit of a boost, or just bounding into comics and making our refurbished 2.0 version, the version since I became EIC, making that version such a titan of sort of alternative media, right? Like, again, outside of the big blogs, like, your IGNs, your comic books, your CBRs, we're right there in that next tier. So again, if it weren't for you guys, if it weren't for all of that, I couldn't have gone there. So you guys are all the best. Thank you for giving me a reason to go back to Comic-Con. And hey, who knows? Maybe next year I can go back. I am definitely going to, spoiler alert for anybody who is currently on Bounding staff. I know Dante is in here, but maybe if you want to come out, I am going to be applying for Bounding press badges for the organization. So hopefully we can all go next year if we want to. I really got to get us into those press badge things, because we're at that level. Let's get our guys in to check out things and interview things. Oh, Dante, speaking of you being here, it was so wild. Things have changed a lot at Comic-Con, because nowadays you have so many creators doing so many different things that aren't necessarily attached to big booths or big companies anymore, that you can just sort of bump into anybody on the damn show floor. Right? So the examples I remember, and I showed Andrew this, I was walking around and all of a sudden I see one cosplayer, a Beast Boy cosplayer, getting an autograph from somebody, and I'm like, oh, that's cool. Who's that? It was Marv fucking Wolfman, Mr. Teen Titans himself. I was like, what the hell? He's just there. He's not at a DC booth. There's no big long ticketed line. He's just sitting there. I had the same experience. I saw Jim Chung, who's one of my favorite Marvel artists. He was just sitting there at his booth hanging out. Ken Penders, the guy who single-handedly ruined the Sonic the Hedgehog comic books, I saw him sitting at a booth. He was just there. Okay, that one's not impressive for the fact that he was there and I could access him. I was just surprised to see him. Wow, Ken Penders is actually, he does buy into everything. He believes that his Lara Sue Chronicles are the best. But to the reason I brought this up for you, Dante, is I was standing in the middle of an aisle, and it was slightly crowded, and some people were talking, and then one of the parties leaves, and as they're leaving, they sort of not bump me or push me, but they got to get by me, so they scoot, and I'm trying to scoot, and as I'm trying to let them scoot by, I bump into somebody, and I'm like, oh, sorry about that, and he's like, oh, no worries. It's an elderly man, right? And while I'm waiting for the crowd to flash, move, I'm sitting there and I'm looking at all the booths, and the booth that I'm standing in front of, I'm like, oh, look, Troma. Hey, Troma's so cool. I know Dante recently talked about it. We had that Toxic Avenger article from JB. Oh yeah, Troma. And then I was like, man, I wonder if Lloyd Kaufman would be at the Troma booth. He's probably at a signing or whatever. And then I realized and then I was like, wait a minute, that guy I bumped into, it was Lloyd Kaufman. Lloyd Kaufman was just right the hell there, and he just bumped into me. He was standing in the middle of the aisle. It was It was surreal. So I don't know. I remember just bumping into him and going like, I got to tell Dante about that, because that was particularly insane. I did meet Uncle Lloyd. I didn't even know I was meeting Uncle Lloyd. I was just like, hey, how's it going? Like I bumped. I was like, sorry about that. He's like, oh, no worries. I'm like, how's it going? He's like, it's crazy out here. And I was like, I hear that. And we had a chuckle and then kept moving. But yes, overall, Comic-Con is a big success. I need to shit. Oh, okay. Let me pants shit for a second, because this, Andrew, if you were still here, you know exactly what I'm about to pants shit about. Oh my God, where is this? So, for those of you who don't know, one of the big, Andrew, you sent it to me. Where the hell is it? Is it in our Discord messages, my friend? This is what happens when you talk to people. You just lose where everything is. Man, we talk. Oh, I was about to be like, man, we talk a little much, and I'm like, oh no, friends talk. What about how awful? Crap. Because Andrew and I were talking the other day, and we had this big old long thread where we were talking about Comic-Con exclusives, and I know that the thing I'm looking for is here. Damn it, it's not there. Whatever. Is it going to be here? Okay, so obviously, if you guys know conventions, or if you even know just comic books, whatever, they're nope, it's too late. It's already happening, Dante. You don't get to run away back to your article for that. But anyway, back to the topic at hand. So obviously, one of the big things about conventions are exclusives, right? How do you comic book companies or whatever, or toy companies, they'll make a limited run of a figure, 500 translucent Gokus for this event, yada yada. It's one of the big appeals of these events. My problem is that, I've understood these systems for a long time. Again, I've been going to Comic-Con in particular for years, and you guys know me, I love collecting stuff, so I try to grab exclusives whenever I can. At Comic-Con this year, something needs to change, because there are just too many attendees for the such limited amounts of things you are selling. So my main example to this is, and I'm going to bring up the video here. So for those of you who didn't see, J. Scott Campbell made he made this beautiful variant cover for the recent Witchblade reboot. And this right here was a Comic-Con exclusive cover that is foil, spot foil. He's going to show it. It glitters. It is this thing. Look at this fucking thing, dude. This cover is absolutely gorgeous. I don't even like Witchblade or that much, and I'm a burgeoning J. Scott Campbell fan, and I was like, I need this book in my life. I go Thursday to pick up my badge and everything, and I am there. I get my badge, I go down to the floor, and I make my way to Scott's or Campbell's booth, specifically to grab a copy of that cover for me and Andrew. I just want to. I get there 4 minutes after the doors have opened for the convention. The line at his booth is already capped. How is that even possible? Fucking fine. I talk to everybody around the booth. When are you going to open it up? When are you going to open it up? I don't know. I go, okay, fine. I run to the bathroom real quick. I go back because I'm just going to wait here. They randomly opened it up again. There's no rhyme or reason to this. Eventually, I get in line, and they're sold out at 10:30 in the morning on the first official day of San Diego Comic-Con. It's so bonkers. You need to have a better system about, if we're going to cap the line, we're going to do this, yada, yada, yada. Or at least say, okay, the big line is going to be over here. Don't do this cap line weird bullshit, because it doesn't help anybody, especially when you go, I don't know, and then everybody, like myself, are just going to wait around anyway. So, and then my second thing is people, folks, please start doing like allotments for each day, right? Like, it's not, I feel like it's so unfair to go, we have 500 copies of this cover right here. We're selling them all today. What about the folks who couldn't get there on that day? What about the folks who couldn't get there at the very beginning of Thursday morning? Thursday morning is still a work day for most people, right? So it feels like you're just feeding right into the scalpers, and it just sort of sucks like butt. And there are better ways to do it. I don't know. I don't have the answers to it. There is the I don't want a raffle system, but if there was some sort of you get a ticket, right? Or there are digital cues or something. It's just I feel like it's so unfair to the actual fans to keep capping lines and randomly opening them and not telling anybody what's going on. And it wasn't just Campbell's booth that did this. It was every booth I tried to get exclusives at. I tried to get some pins for a friend from this company called Toddland. Capped every single time I went by it. I tried to go. DC was doing these absolutely gorgeous hard cut, like metal cover releases of the trade paperbacks for Godzilla vs. Kong. And, well, it was Godzilla vs. Kong. There was another one the other one I wanted was they did Batman Failsafe, which is the recent Chip Zdarsky arc where they introduced the Failsafe robot. Pardon me. Gave that volume a really nice hardcover treatment. And this one really, really hurts. They gave, can I find it? Let's see. They gave the same metal cover treatment to, man, can you please work with me here, Google? Why does Google insist on giving me like 200 by 400 images instead of just the full, like I want these 1,000 by 1,000 images. I want the high resolution. Stop being asshole. But DC, they did a hardcover metal release of the first volume of Tom King's Wonder Woman run, and they gave it this beautiful Stanley Art Germ cover. And I'm like, you motherfuckers, you are literally dressing up dog shit in a golden tuxedo. Like, how dare you? But yeah, I wanted those. I couldn't get those either because DC kept capping the line. There were Capcom, or Udon rather, even though I got the cover, I missed out on some of their exclusive metal cards and another exclusive cover that they had because they just sold everything out right away. So I don't know what I'm trying to say here. I don't have the solutions. I'm not saying I'm the arbiter of everything that's great about the Comic-Con system, but it is, as a veteran, like, I can't believe I came back after 10 years and we're still doing all this. Like, this is still the same stupid sort of system you're doing. I almost would deign, like, don't sell things on the show floor. Have a completely different section for, no, that sounds stupid. Don't even listen to me. This is not the Spencer Solves Comic-Con podcast. This is a Good Mav Ugly. So that's the ugly. That was San Diego Comic-Con. That was the ugly of it. Overall, a great time. Still glad I got my comic book. Yeah. Hopefully I'll see some of you there next year. Let's put it that way. MFF updates. What is MFF updates? I have no idea what that is. Oh, Marvel Future Fight updates. No, it is not. I know who that artist is. It's not him. This artist is Art Germ, Stanley Art Germ Lau. He does a lot of variant cover work for comic books, for manga. Like, he's a very prolific artist. I'm sure you guys have noticed his style around here somewhere. What are some really good? Oh, like there's one of my favorite pieces from him is this one that he did for the Power Girl one-shot cover. We can even go to his Twitter. His Twitter will give us everything we want to look at. So yeah, you guys don't need to know who I'm looking at. But yeah, like, he is absolutely amazing at artwork, especially like character artwork. So we can just, we can go through. Here's his Psylocke cover that's coming up for Psylocke #1. Oh, I can't just go left and right like I can on the phone. What's her name? Manon from Street Fighter. his recent variant for NYX. You know, and it's not just women. Like here's his Robin. He, you know, Kakashi. He's just the man can cook. Let's just put it that way. Like I've never seen the man produce something terrible. I mean, here you have the full range, like run the gamut. You have Husbando Nightwing right there. Absolutely gorgeous. Yeah, I'll drop the link in the chat here. Very easy. Chat. Stanley. You've got Uta over here from One Piece. Yuffie! You even got Yuffie. Look at that. He got my girl. So yeah, and these are like his unfinished piece or like his sketches, right? Then you get to like his finished pieces, and the man is inhuman almost. So yeah, he's a great artist. When they gave the Wonder Woman thing, they were like, oh, it's getting this cover by him. I was so upset because I'm like, again, golden tuxedo on a turd. It's absolutely the worst decision possible. Shinkai asks, I know I have heard of Witchblade. Wasn't this an anime? Is it related to the comic or just a coincidence? So, Shinkai, it actually is related to the anime and comic. They are one and the same. The Witchblade anime is actually based on the Witchblade comic. Witchblade came out of Top Cow back in the 90s, sort of, for lack of a better term, the 90s the 90s edgy boom. So things like the Max, things like Spawn, things like John Paul's Valley Batman, things like it's very much of that sort of era. But during that era, all of that was big. So I forget who produced the anime, but they got in touch with Top Cow and said, hey, can we do a Witchblade anime? Let's go. And so we got the anime. I like that anime a lot, but fair warning, Shinkai, almost absolutely nothing to do with the Western Witchblade comics, unfortunately. They share the same basic like weapon premise. Like you have the Witchblade and its origin, but the characters, the premise, the story that actually unfolds, all of that is completely like it's not the same. So just know that if you're going to check it out, you got to buckle up for quite a ride. Volume Dealer says the artist for Future Fight was Brian Mirogilo, but it's cheesecake stuff. Let's see. What am I caring about? I'm no fuddy-duddy. You guys know me. I'll go look at attractive waifu. Nothing wrong with that. I have his, let's see. I only have his Twitter. I don't see him on Instagram. Oh, there he is. Maybe? No. I don't know. He's somewhere. Maybe let's look at his art station. Oh, not the Future Fight artist, just an artist you found. Oh, I've seen this guy's stuff before. Yeah, he does the yeah, no. I've seen this guy before. He does like statue model molds, right? Yeah, like that. That's right. I've seen these before. Like I've seen this She-Hulk one floating around before because it's very like J. Scott Campbell-y. Yeah, no, I've seen this guy before. Really cool. I think you can do this if you have a 3D printer. Yeah, like I think that's what he's showing right here. Obviously, you probably have to paint it, but no, that's really cool. I wish I had a 3D printer just to make figures like that. You know what I'm saying? Oh wait, what? Oh, never mind. I had the wrong window open. I thought it wasn't showing the She-Hulk thing. What's that? One sec. I gotta let my dog out. But yeah, no, I like this guy. I believe he's done real comic book work. Like I think he's done like a variant comic cover or two before. Cause yeah, I feel like he's pretty prominent. Hold on, buddy. There you go. Woof. All right, but I think speaking of comic books. Oh, wait a minute. I just saw. Didn't Shinkai just say something? For some reason, it's showing up not in the YouTube chat, but it's over here. Shinkai asked, "Oh, so like the DMC or Supernatural anime?" Even less so than that. The better comparison would be the Toei Spider-Man, right? Like the Sentai Spider-Man, the Tokusatsu Spider-Man, where they worked, Toei worked with Marvel. It's an officially licensed thing, but the only real thing it shares is like the basic premise of man with spider powers, right? There's no Peter Parker's not jumping around in Leopardon. There's no Green Goblin or Mysterio fighting Tatsuya. Like that's more of a comparison. Um, Those are some implant cheeks. Oh no, dude, this is called going to the gym. All right, everybody, this is our motivation. Everybody, your homework after the stream is to go buy a 3D printer, go to Brian Moroglio's or Moroglio, however you say it. I apologize for the mispronunciation. Go to his account, download your favorite, buy your favorite model, download it, put it up, and be like, I need to get cheeks like that. I need to start doing squats. But yeah, that Witchblade anime good, just not really a lot to do with the core central property it is based on. Now let's see, where do we want to go from here, folks? We have so much to talk about. That was our big Comic-Con, what's going on in the life of Mav sort of update, and Comic-Con ranting. We'll get into Comic-Con announcements a little bit later on. Obviously, the biggest one came out of Marvel with Doom and RDJ, but we will get to that in a little bit. Before we get there, let's hop gears to comic books, since we are on that sort of bent already. So let's leap over here from some good-looking art, some good-looking comic books, or good comic book-related content, to talk about some stuff that is absolutely pants on head, for lack of a better term, retarded. There's just at this point, I don't know what we're doing here. So we have roughly 2 weeks of comic books to catch up on. Surprisingly, last week, not a lot to write home about. We had some, Absolute Origin stuff, which is I really, really am struggling over here, guys, to give any sort of care about Absolute or Power or whatever the hell they're calling it nowadays. I don't know why they're using why they're using Absolute for 7 different things, but here we are. Oh yeah, I think, Volume Dealer says DC's logo announcement was earth-shattering. Dude, okay, let's just pull that up really quick, because this is so dumb. DC logo announcement. Mr. Gunn. So yeah, in case you guys didn't see, one of arguably the big DC Studios announcement that came out of the San Diego Comic-Con was their logo is going back to the old bullet point logo. Cool. I am a personal fan of this logo the most, but like Volume Dealer saying, earth-shattering. I know so many people were treating it like that, but it was just sort of like, yeah, so cool logo. Nothing really to write home about. I laughed a little bit, though, seeing James Gunn do this announcement, because the shirt he's wearing is from a band called 4 Year Strong, and it's a band I know a lot, and it's a very pop punk band, and yeah, I was just like, hey, I get that reference. I understand that reference. So yeah, DC still had a better Comic-Con than Marvel overall, because here, I was just looking at a recap of this. What did we get? DC Comic-Con announcements. Let's see. Let's see. Timon is asking what's different. Oh shoot, I will answer that, and then I got to get back to your Sandrock question, because I saw that. I know, I can see it in my head. I want to make sure I'm thinking of the right one. There we are. It wasn't. This is, again, Volume Dealer is right on the money with the sarcasm, because yeah, the one on the right was the old one. I think you guys might remember it. That came out around the time of Rebirth, New 52-ish, and then yeah, they're going back to the more classic comic booky studios logo. Again, nothing to really write home about, just a neat little thing, but there were people treating this like, oh my gosh, they did it again. You did it again, James Gunn. Oh my goodness. But honestly, we got the absolute announcements out of DC. We got previews for the final season of Superman and Lois. We got this new DC logo reveal, which, while not a big thing, does sort of visually signal that Gunn is at least trying to go more comic book accurate with, or comic book respectful with what he's doing, rather. So that is a neat. We also got things like we got My Adventures with Superman panel, where we're getting Connor Kent is dropping into the animated series finally. We got a preview for, what is that, Creature Commandos. We got a bunch of great comic book announcements. Like I said, we got the Absolute announcement. We also got the announcement that this one is sort of half cool, half awful. DC did announce that they're reuniting the Justice League. They haven't been together since, I believe, one of the Dark Crisis, I believe, was the last time there was an official Justice League in the DCU. And so we're getting a new series. It's written by Mark Waid, Dan Mora. Again, the two people I think should just be DC at this point. Mark Waid, certified crazy person, certified brain broken by politics, needs to go to an old folks home. But the man can write motherfucking comic books. I will not deny that he can do that. And Dan Mora, just hand the keys to DC over to Dan Mora. Detective Comics? No. Dan Mora Comics. That's what it should be from here on out. So we got the announcement of this new roster. We're getting the Trinity, one of the Atoms. It looks like it's probably going to be, Ryan Choi. We have Lightning, Black Lightning, Captain Atom, Wally West, and Star Sapphire Carol Ferris. So the only reason I'm particularly, I think that this is a win is I like Mark Waid and I like Dan Mora. And personally, I really like the Atom as a character. I like what you can do with Captain Atom. Yeah, Volume Dealer is kind of on my side here. Captain Atom is a nice touch. Depending on how you use him, I really like what you can do with Captain Atom. There's a version of him in the comics called Major Force, and he's basically edgy Captain Atom, where it's just like, I'm going to kill everything, I'm going to blow up everything. And sometimes people they mix the two too much, and I don't like that. But this is looking to be the sort of Captain Atom who is a hard-ass military guy, but still is genuinely trying to fight and do right, even if it might be a little bit misguided. So I like those three choices for the team. I am not, and I like, so this is supposed to be Wally, and here, let's zoom in, because I just want to focus on Wally. So this is supposed to be Wally West, our Flash. I'm not against Wally being on the League. I hate this suit more than I think I've hated any Flash costume ever. And that's including the one where Wally has the one he was rocking right now, where his helmet hair is open. And, the red one with the silver lightning and the silver things, and yeah, his hair open. I hate that suit. This is worse. I don't know what's going on here, but there's a weird, I don't like the long Loki style horns. I don't like the digital clarinet texture that he has apparently. I think that's going to play into the plot, but at current, I have no clue what the point of it is. It just looks kind of stupid and silly. And I don't like the weird knuckle duster things. This feels like somebody made a Legion of Superheroes character design and then threw it into the MCU design machine. That's what it feels like to me. And it just doesn't, I'm not a fan of it. I really, really, really hope it's temporary. I mean, it looks okay-ish here just because Dan Mora knows how to draw, but I don't know. I'm not, that's probably the biggest bummer about this announcement, but I'm excited to see another League book come back. I'm excited for its creative team. Give Dan Mora everything. Volume Dealer says, I'm more into Firestorm, but he has seen the sun in the past few years. I am actually right there with you, Volume Dealer. I've been a Firestorm fan for a long time. I've always sort of just liked his gimmick of like coming together, and then I like, oh, change the elements. I've really liked his character, and he has gotten a lot of play in the past few years. I kind of think I would have liked to see, what am I trying to say here? I'm sort of on your side, Volume Dealer. I think in this lineup we're looking at, it would have been really cool to have him. I think there was that period back in the New 52 when that kicked off, where they tried to make Firestorm sort of a bigger player, put him on the Justice League. Deathstorm was a big player during the Forever Evil stuff. They tried. I don't think he really took, but I think with the right team, with the right setting, with the right book, you can do a really good Firestorm character and have him be a really compelling character. I mean, just look at Flash, the CW version. That version of Firestorm, I really liked their depiction of it. Even when they went to Legends of Tomorrow and were rarely coming together, like when their powers went on the fritz. There's a lot of cool stuff you can do there. But yeah, I would have liked to see him. I understand why they didn't, but I think he would have been a cool fit. Again, I am most excited here for Carol, for a Star Sapphire. You guys know me. I'm a sucker for the Lantern Corps, primarily because it is like, they're like Power Rangers, but with glowing translucent weapons, which is exactly the entire thing I am always here for. So it's cool to see another non-Green Lantern being on the team. Makes sense for Carol. Let's hope Wade doesn't do the stupid thing where he just throws her into being a villain again. And let's hope Wade differentiates her struggles at being on the Justice League, like her imposter syndrome. Let's hope he differentiates it from what we saw out of Jessica Cruz, because that is already sort of Jessica Cruz's character. Yeah, no, Volume Dealer, you're completely right. Volume Dealer says, Star Sapphire is just rotating a female that has never been in a major Justice League slot. 100%. I am definitely not disagreeing with that. But I'm going to take my win where it is. I get to see the Star Sapphire flying around doing pink energy constructs. I'm a happy lad. Hey, what is going on? She says she's on break. She is saying hi. What is up to my favorite Brit from across the pond? I'm so happy to see you in so much better spirits when you're popping in on these chats or when you're saying hi to me. Like, I can tell things are really on the upswing for you, girl. So I am glad to see it. I'm glad to see you. I hope work is going well. Volume Dealer says, what Mark Millar said about Superman, I'm more hopeful. He was on Drinker's show yesterday. I did not see that. I will have to check that out. If you want to drop me a quick summary of what he said. Was he talking about the movie or was he talking about the character? Either way, I definitely need to check that out after we're done here with this show. Volume Dealer also said Gunn put Chuck Mosley, Faith No More in Guardians of the Galaxy 3. I was shocked. Okay, for all the faults Gunn has, like, and trust me, the man has a lot of faults. I'm not a particular fan of his subversive comedy. I'm not a fan of the over-the-top toilet humor at times. I'm not a fan of his... And by subversive comedy, I really do mean, like, him and Joss Whedon are patient zero for the, like, that happened, huh? Where you undercut everything with a joke and you sort of just take the wind out of the entire scene. He's, like, he tends to lean into that. And so he is a man, right? He's a flawed man. He has his problems. I cannot fault the man, though, for the fact that he very clearly, even if he does, sometimes lean into race swapping or like neoliberal popular rhetoric sometimes, like we're maybe we'll talk about it, but Blue Beetle or Booster Gold is going to be Kumail Nanjiani. Like, he sometimes leans into that, but the man clearly loves the source material he's working with, and he is at least genuine in a sense, right, Volume Dealer? Like, all of his music picks that he puts on Guardians, we're not seeing soundtracks like we got out of the first Suicide Squad movie, which are very obvious picks that are very obviously meant to be clipped for a TikTok and make people go, ooh, I know that song. Oh, wow, Black Skinhead by Kanye because Deadshot is a black guy and has a shaved head. So smart. Didn't see that one coming. Bohemian Rhapsody. Oh wow, nobody's ever. I remember when they used Bohemian Rhapsody in that trailer for Suicide Squad, and everybody was like, "Oh, this is great! Look at that! This is so amazing! This is such a good use of the song." And I was just like, "Oh no, oh no, 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 no! You guys made a crucial error. You do not come out of the gate with this attempt to bring an unknown IP and super edify it and bring it to the public. You don't come out trying to swing at like other sort or not swing, but you don't compare yourself. You don't put yourself on that same pedestal. You got to show some humility. So the second I saw you were using a fucking Queen song for this, and not just a Queen song, but the Queen song. And this, again, it's like some people, I bring this up a lot and people go, well, what about when it was in Shaun of the Dead? That's different. That was used in the context of the story, and they weren't blasting it out in all of the marketing. They weren't going, you remember Queen? Come see our movie. That's what they did in Suicide Squad. And I just knew, like, you're using the Queen song. You guys have already fucked up. Like, no, you can't measure it to, like, almost nothing can be put to that song, much less, like, it is not up to a studio executive or anybody working in like a Hollywood business sense to decide what these songs should all be. And yet that's sort of what always happens, except when it comes to Gunn. Gunn goes, I have a song. You know how, like, when we're kids, or even if you're like me, you do it nowadays, you listen to a song, you imagine a music video in your head, whether it's the band, whether it's like the band playing the song, or it's, your favorite characters fighting, or, your version of an AMV. That's a very, very, very common thing, right? That's what James Gunn does with his music choices. He goes, I want this song because I have a very specific reason and use for its tone. We're going to use that. And they're all, things he listened to. He's not just picking from a list of the top 10. He's going, you can keep, your top 40, or this is what I call music 4000. I'm going to go to this weird random cassette that I listened to when I was a kid. There was one, I'm pulling up my music player right now because there was one specific one on Guardians 3 where I was like, I cannot believe you picked this one. Is it this one, or is it in the meantime? Oh yeah, you can. Oh, haha, my desktop audio is picking up. You can hear it. But like this song, how much can I play on YouTube before I get hit? Like 2 seconds? That's all I'm gonna do. You guys, the intro to the song, you'll know it. But this one, okay, that was 5 seconds. But that song, he put it on Guardians, and I was like, what? Crazy. But yeah, so the man is at the very least somewhat more genuine than the rest of Hollywood. I'm not going to say he's 100% authentic or he's 100% genuine, but the man, at least, I can at least give him credit. That's why when I see Gunn is attached to a project, I at least go, let's see. Let us see. Right? I like all the Guardians films. Suicide Squad was better than the first one. There are things about it I really don't like, but there are things about it I really do like. For example, Gunn is great at writing team dynamics. He's really good at giving each character something to do, and he's really good at sort of tense, dramatic confrontations. For example, the things I love from the Suicide Squad are the team's interactions, Bloodsport with Ratcatcher, everybody with Polka Dot Man, the rivalry between Bloodsport and Peacemaker. That's all great. I really love the scene where Peacemaker and Bloodshot or Bloodsport are going through the camp, and it's that one take of them just like butchering everybody, and then at the end they go, yeah, welcome to the camp, this is what we're looking for. Like, that honestly is one of those good moments that James Gunn is for, or one of those moments James Gunn is good at. I really, really like a lot of the stuff at the very, very end with Peacemaker sort of betraying the team, killing Rick, having his showdown with Bloodsport. All of that stuff I thought was a really, really good climax. And again, he went full Starro. He didn't make Starro into like a weird mind cap machine thing. He didn't make Starro into a sentient meme or something. He went he's a giant fucking fish, and he's a giant fucking starfish, and we're gonna make him a giant fucking starfish. So credit there. Yeah, again, there was some waste. I didn't really like King Shark's depiction. I thought Peter Capaldi was wasted. But again, this isn't the Suicide Squad show. This is James Gunn has earned a little bit of goodwill. Maybe isn't like the right term, but goodwill, I guess, might work. Like, rather than, I see somebody like Zeb Wells, who we'll talk about later. I see him get attached to something, I immediately go, get out, Satan. Like, we are done here. No, not in this house. But with Gunn, I'll go, let me see what you're cooking. And I mean, we're seeing that. Like, that's why I'm so torn with his DC stuff. I'm seeing a lot of stuff I really like. There is for those of you who haven't seen it, they've leaked the suits for everybody for Hawkgirl, Mr. Terrific, and Guy Gardner. We've seen them so far, and they're all very like boring, generic MCU suits. And I think that's a really smart idea because it's supposed to show like corporate Maxwell, like Lord Tech superheroes, sponsored superheroes. I think that's a really smart look to doing a more grounded Superman story. I think Mr. Terrific looks great. I think Guy Gardner, as goofy as he looks great. There's but then you do get the things where it's like, okay, Kumail Nanjiani is playing Booster Gold, which is like, what the hell are you doing here? You were doing so well. Everything else seems so right. Why would you pick that? Like, there's this scene. The one scene that keeps me from going, I am done with James Gunn, is there is whatchamacallit? There's a behind the scenes footage we've seen there's a behind the scenes camera, like on set recording that somebody made and shared on social media. We've watched it here before. Let me pull it up. I know we have talked about this before. And I always have to put in like a really dumb search term. It's always like Superman kids or something to get the video, because they don't ever want to just make it easy. I mean, it makes sense because it's proprietary and they're filming it. But okay, so we've watched this before, but this clip, right? So it's all of the league or whatever is currently assembled in Gunn's universe. They're touching down and they're bringing Superman to what appears to be the Hall of Justice, right? So you've got Mr. Terrific, Hawkgirl, Guy Gardner. They all land first and they start walking. As Superman lands, all these little kids run out and they're like, you're our hero. Watch right here. Yay, Superman. Oh my God. Like that. We do not see this sort of Superman, this genuine, like not father figure, but just like this arbiter of good. We don't see this one anymore, like beloved by all. So I love that Gunn is giving that approach to it. But then, yeah, he does something like Kumail Nanjiani as Booster Gold, which I just think, I don't know. First of all, stop trying to make Kumail Nanjiani happen. I don't think he's that good of a comedian. He might be a fine, like, dramatic actor if you want to put him in that, like, sad sack type of role, but he's not. I've never been impressed by anything he's done really comedically. I'll admit he was probably my favorite part of Eternals, but it was really just the one gag that I really liked from Eternals. And that was you're a Bollywood star, but you live forever. How is nobody caught on? And he's like, that's my great-great-grandfather. That's my great-great-grandfather. Like, that little joke, I really liked that. But again, not enough to carry a career or a whole character. It's just a nice little, like, oh, that was a neat little exchange. Haha, funny. And, aside from that, he plays very much, I used that term a second ago for him, sad sack. He plays that character a lot in a lot of what he does. Sort of I'm down on my luck, the girl I like doesn't love me, my life isn't turning out how I wanted it to be, and now I need something to sort of give me that kick in the pants to get me, get the motivation, the juices flowing. That's sort of the character he always plays, and I've never really resonated with that character. You can do it once or twice, but to do it in like almost every role just really bores me. Yeah, I just feel like they're trying too hard to make it happen, to make Kumail Nanjiani happen, and it's not working out. Like Eternals was nothing. His role was really nothing in Eternals aside from that little joke that I like. He was sort of just background fodder. And now you're going to make him Booster Gold. Like the entire point of Booster Gold is he's supposed to be this smug, you know, I'm the best. Like he's supposed to be a douche. That is what Booster Gold is. For, you know, I'm gonna go on a little Booster Gold rant. We're gonna go to that should bring up my bounding article. Where is it? Hey, it was there the other day. Bounding. Hey, what the heck? You guys see that? Google's not putting our logo up anymore. What's going on with that? Oh, our logo's not even appearing in the bar anymore. That would explain it. I gotta fix that. Weird. So, for those of you who don't know the character of Booster Gold, what Booster Gold is he's from the future. He's from the 31st century. He lives in Metropolis. He was a college athlete sports star. Like he was a football pro. He was going to go all the way, but then his mom got sick. He started betting on his own games, and long story short, he was able to save his mom, but the commission found out. They fired him. They canned him. They said, "Get out. No more football for you." So his entire life sort of came to a halt. In the aftermath, he goes and he gets a job at the what is it? It's like the Metropolis Museum of Superheroes, right? Where they've got all these displays of Earth's of the Justice League and all the Crisis and Batman. And so he spends all this time looking at all these things and going, I want to be a hero. Like I can do this. So he steals all of this, like all this gear from the museum, a Legion flight ring, an energy suit, an energy blaster, even his little buddy Skeets. He steals it, goes back to the past and goes, with my knowledge of the future, I'm going to become a superhero. And I'm going to make a pretty penny while I'm at it. So, you know, he's very much the, you know, look at me, Booster Gold. Or, you know, do you have the can in the shot? Like, I love to save the day after a good old Sprite. Like that's his character, and very self-serving almost to a fault. There is an arc in Justice League International where you find out Booster Gold has married an old, like a septuagenarian, or not even a septuagenarian, like an octogenarian, like a 89-year-old woman, just because she's about to die and she's rich. Like, and he's like, I can finally get my fortune back if I do this. Like, that's the kind of character he starts out as. As time goes on, around the time of 52 in the mid 2000s, Booster Gold goes from joke, you know, self-serving guy to he's actually arguably the biggest hero of the DC universe, because he's going throughout the time stream, fixing things, making sure things all stay correct, making sure things don't collapse on each other, and keeping the time stream just intact. And it takes sacrifice, and it's brutal, and it's heart-wrenching. If anybody is interested in Booster at all, I 4,000% recommend you go watch or go read Booster Gold Volume 2 from DC, written by Dan Jurgens. Absolutely just a fantastic run, not just for the character, but in general. You'll have a lot of fun out of it, and you'll understand the appeal of his character. So, essentially what he is he's the douchebag who learns a lesson and then plays the fool, but is actually very, very much a hero. Kumail Nanjiani doesn't really give off either of those two attitudes. He can give a little smarmy, but it never feels like genuine smarmy, if that makes any sense, right? When I think of like smarmy in terms of Booster Gold, this is a dude who just huffs his own farts. He believes no matter what he does, it's the best. If he knocks over your lunch at a restaurant, he's gonna say, "Oh, but what do you mean? You got a boot print on your sandwich from Booster Gold. Isn't that like, I'm the best? You're so thankful." I feel like he's self-smug, if that makes sense. The Kumail Nanjiani in his roles, his smug is more like pat me on the back smug, where he says a line or he does something and it's not for himself, it's more to like appeal to certain like ways of thinking in his audience. You know, a lot of his stuff deals with race and politics, so it's a lot of like, got them like and even again, it's he never does that directly, but that's very much what you feel like his characters are built towards. The pause, clap, thank you, now let's keep going. And that's not what Booster Gold is. Booster Gold, first and foremost, has to be for himself. And so it's just a complete miscasting, and it bums me out because, as you guys could probably tell from my little spiel, I'm a giant Booster Gold fan. I love that run. I love his character. I've talked about this before. Shout out to my buddy Kevin Apollo if you're watching, or if somebody wants to hit him up. We were on a stream the other week with Marvin over at Tooneytown TV. 52, right? We talked about this on that stream. 52 is one of my favorite comic book runs of all motherfucking time. Like, it is easily top 3. It's probably that, Exiles, and I don't know. Like, it's like that, Exiles, and maybe the J. Michael Straczynski era of Spider-Man. I think those are probably my personal top 3 like comic book things of maybe all time. So I love Booster. I want to see a really good adaptation. We got really good adaptations in a bunch of animated stuff. Go watch Brave and the Bold. Go watch the Justice League Unlimited episode with him. Those are all really good depictions of Booster. They're all really comic accurate depictions of Booster. This, I feel, is not going to be. And, just to bring it back, this is where I get torn on Gunn, because there are blatant misfires like this. Just, what the hell are you doing misfires over here? But then there's Superman playing with, like hanging out and being idolized by kids and being their hero. So, who knows? We'll see how that turns out. I'm going to... So, yeah, Volume Dealer, you did get it. You got that space hog. Yes, Shinkai, thank you. That was also a really good depiction of Booster Gold, was when he was in Smallville. Let me pull that up, because if you don't know what he was like on Smallville, let me show you, because it really does send like this. It is Booster Gold. That's really all I can say about the Smallville depiction, right? So this was Booster. Time traveler and everything, coming back saying, hey, everybody, look at me, I saved the day. And he's got like sponsorship patches on, right? Like, he's being sponsored by Soda Pop and television channels to do his hero work. He's like a NASCAR racer. That's what he should be. He's in it. Yeah, he's saving the day, but he's not going to say no to milking it or taking a pretty penny off of it. So, yeah, like this... Just nothing about this radiates from Kumail Nanjiani. It just doesn't work. I think I could see a potential vision for it if this was an animated thing and Kumail was just doing the voice, but portraying him on screen, since that's what James Gunn's DCU is, if you voice him, you're playing him on screen, which I think is really cool. Because of that, he's going to play him in live, and I just don't think it's a really, really good fit. Yeah, Shinkai, exactly. Yeah, logos on heroes remind me of Tiger and Bunny. Tiger and Bunny is very Booster Goldie. Booster would fit right in the world of Tiger and Bunny, like 100,000%. So, yeah, Kumail this does not spark joy in me. Yeah, Volume Dealer, the only comic accurate character in Smallville. Yeah, no, I actually do agree with that. Pardon me. I also thought Jaime Blue Beetle, when they got him, because he's in this same episode. That's where they introduced both of them. I thought it's not great. Like, it's not, he's very blocky and 2000s costume stocky as Blue Beetle, but I thought that was also a pretty good one. Yeah, Volume Dealer, everyone else was a color coordinated t-shirt. Yeah, the Justice League, or my favorite one, Volume Dealer, was the Justice League Cyborg, the kid who played the famous Jet Jackson, rest in peace. His costume was just a hoodie, but it was like a gray hoodie and then differently colored arms with like a pattern, like a blue pattern on it, to do like Cyborg's blue Teen Titans style thing. Like, it was so like, oh, you guys didn't try at all. Like, what's even the point? Why not just give him like the boxer's hoodie where it doesn't have the sleeves? Like, that's what we were looking for here. So all in all, not a big fan of the Kumail Nanjiani Booster Gold thing. Now, I want to delve and make, this is sort of an argument I have been seeing from some of the more, left-leaning accounts I follow, people I know, and I think this is a really interesting bit of discourse that I think really does apply to the Booster Gold character. And bear with me here, guys, because I'm going to talk about a race aspect here, but you guys know me. I'm not here to grift. I'm not here to judge anybody. I'm not here to push any politics. So bear with me, because I think this point was really interesting. On Twitter, I saw somebody talking about how Kumail Nanjiani's casting kind of misses the point of Booster Gold, because Booster Gold should be a sort of smarmy white man, like a blonde white man. And I think, their argument was, in the past, and obviously things have gotten better, at least since like the 80s, 90s, things are always getting better despite what all the people on the neo-left want to tell you. Like, there were times when just being white would get you handed things, right? White mediocrity was a real thing, at least over here in America. And like I've seen it before in my own life. It's not rampant. It's not everybody is doing it, but you do see it happen every once in a while. Those people suck, and it's not, a condemnation of everybody, but it's a thing that does happen. So I think the idea of having this hero who is so full of himself, who is so like, yeah, I'm the best, everybody wants to pay attention to me, and making him your sort of quintessential, not just white douchebag, but like Hollywood, like white athlete douchebag. I think that's really the only sort of way you can sell the character, right? Like, white douchebag is a very specific breed of this like douchebag. There are black douchebags, there are Asian douchebags, there are Mexican douchebags, they're all over the place. But the white, like this kind of douchebag, is very specific, and it's like, so I think it really does play an important part in Booster's character, and that's why you should definitely make him that, keep him white and blonde and everything. And to take it even further, I think it would send a good lesson where if you put in Booster Gold as this sort of stereotypical white mediocrity, everything's handed to me, why doesn't everybody love me character, and that's how you present him to everybody, right? Get the audience on that idea of, yeah, like sort of almost lull them into a false sense of, oh yeah, they're going to use Booster as the avatar for criticisms of white men, of all that sort of stuff. And then you hit them with the counter, you hit them with the switch up, and you show them that, you do the arc where it's Booster's not just a douche, he's a genuine person. He had a hard life in the beginning. He is the hero. You don't know what he goes through to save the universe, like on a hourly basis. And yeah, does he, is he the most noble and charitable of heroes? No. But you know what? I think he's the most human hero we have. Yeah, Volume Dealer said, I saw that post. So yeah, like I think that is a really good, if we are going to look at the character through that lens, I think that's a really, really good argument. And I think a lot more could have been done there instead of just, oh, smarmy guy. I think you're missing out on something. So all in all, I would have picked Glenn Powell. I have this weird affinity for Glenn Powell. I kind of like the guy because he seems kind of chill as far as a Hollywood celebrity goes. And again, that's his public persona. I know he's probably just as insane as the rest of them. But like, the guy is just remaking movies from his childhood. That's all he got into acting for. He just wants to, he saw movies in the 80s and now he wants to make his own version of them. And I can't really fault him for that. So I kind of like seeing him pop up and stuff. And I just think, yeah, he would have been absolutely perfect for this. And in case you guys don't know who I'm talking about, he was the Iceman in, or what was it? He was like Top Gun Maverick's version of Iceman. He was the rival to, what the hell is his name? The Reed Richards actor, Miles Teller. So yeah, I think that would have been a good pull for him. But we'll see what happens with this. But I remembered, all in all, this sort of is just this has to do with DC just had a better Comic-Con than Marvel, because we've had all of this to talk about out of Marvel or out of DC. You know, we've got Absolute. We talked about Absolute the last week before, because they announced that a little bit before Comic-Con. We've talked about the DC Studios stuff. We've seen a new Justice League title. All of this stuff is coming out of them. What does Marvel have? Like, Marvel obviously had the RDJ Doom announcement that we will get to, but as far as everything else goes, we just had, we had a reveal for Marvel Rivals. I believe they revealed Venom. We got we got comic announcements. Like, I'm stumbling here because I don't even really know how to describe these. We got comic announcements, but they weren't anything grand, if that makes any sense, right? Like, DC comes out, they go, Absolute line. We're doing this whole new publishing initiative. We're going crazy with it. Like, this is something new. You should come check it out. Or they go over with Justice League and they go, hey, we're bringing back the Justice League. We've got Dan Mora and Mark Waid on this bitch. We are throwing, it's not just the Trinity. We're throwing in Star Sapphire. You've got Captain Atom. Look at what we're doing. We're doing something. Over at Marvel, we got the announcement of just like, hey, more Ultimate Universe is coming, which is good, but it's like, we know that. Like, we definitely knew that was already a thing just by reading. There are more Infinity comics coming, which is great, but a lot of the Infinity comics have finally found their niche in that they're no longer trying to tell the big epic stories that involve like actual plot events for the 616 or whatever line, because they've realized people just don't want to go through that effort to go and read another chapter on this app in a way. The whole phone thing is stupid. We'll probably talk about the Marvel X-Men stuff in a little bit, but all the Marvel Infinity series are basically just like le meme comics, right? Like, the ones they announced were like, we're getting a Dogpool comic, we're getting more Jeff the Talking Shark comics, we're getting a pet Avengers sort of comic thing. I think that's smart for them, and that's a good way to go for Marvel Infinity Comics. But it's just, that's not going to rock the house, right? We're getting a new West Coast Avengers series, which is fine. We're getting a new Spider-Man miniseries called The 8 Deaths of Spider-Man, which is like, you guys know me, I don't really care about Amazing right now. Nothing is fucking happening over there. And then we got the confirmation that we are getting a Doctor Doom event in 2025, obviously to coincide with the movies. None of that's really that exciting. That's all sort of standard fare. Even a Doom event, it's just like, all right, we saw that coming, totally could have seen that. I mean, we'll get to Blood Hunt as well, but I have so much to talk about here. But then, yeah, we're getting a new Laura Kinney series, like an X-23 series. We're getting what was the like a lot of the stuff. Marvel sort of blew it by like launching a lot of their big stuff right before the convention. Deadpool and Wolverine dropped the week before the con started. The X-Men line relaunched about 2 weeks before the convention started. The Ultimates line is gearing up right now for its second phase. It just started a week after Comic-Con. It's just like, you guys could have timed this so much better. Again, DC just, all in all, DC won Comic-Con this year because Marvel just did not bring anything that would be anywhere near impressive. Like it just, who can, like, they dropped trailers for Venom more and Wolverine Revenge. We know these things exist already. These are just sort of sizzle reels about, like they're just teasers. It's so dumb. I don't know. We did get our first look at Galactus. Let's see. I actually think I can pull that up. Here it is. We did get our first look at the version of Galactus that will be in Fantastic Four. Thankfully, he is a person. Like, he is a human type thing rather than a cloud or bugs or energy or anything like that. So I don't want to say, look, guys, Galactus is one of my one of my favorite comic book characters of all time. Just the concept behind him, all the stories involving him. I just love Galactus. So my little fanboy heart is going, oh, I get to see a Galactus on screen. And I fully admit that I'm being like fanboy here, because the rest of the movie's going to be ass. I know it is. Pedro Pascal is a bad like Mr. Fantastic. But alas, this is where we it's sort of like the James Gunn problem, right? Where I'm like, Marvel, I know you're not going to deliver. I know this will be a bad movie, but damn it, I want to see Galactus. Like, damn, I want to see that man just like stomping around in live action. Just the visual. I know you're going to do something stupid with his story. I just want to see the man like stomping around. I've got to see that. So like that was sort of what we got out of Marvel for their Comic-Con stuff. Just nothing really exciting, more of the same, more keeping on. Again, I like the Ultimates line. I'm a big fan of it. I'm reading the X-Men stuff, some of it at least. But that doesn't mean like that is going, like nothing they announced was sort of exciting to me. You would think like an Ultimates book would excite me, especially with how much I gush about it all the time. But all in all, I just went, all right, like of course that was coming. Like we knew that. Like it's yeah, like okay. So hopefully when they actually hit, like maybe there's something that happens in that Ultimate book that, you know, throws everybody for a loop. Maybe the Doom event is one of the greatest events we've ever read of all time. I don't know. I'm open to being impressed, but just sort of going off of history, off of what we've seen before, I don't really have a lot of big, like I don't really have a lot of excitement coming off of Marvel for that. Now, before we get into, like, this is a good segue into, you know, we're comparing DC and Marvel's Comic-Con. Let's talk about the big news. But before we do, I finally did get my Gundam Sandrock update from my good friend Timon. So before we get into this, I want to talk about his Sandrock update. Timon says, Sandrock front news. The double model kit that I didn't expect it to come won't come in the end. I opened a dispute with the vendor for refunds. He didn't want to do it. I sent print screens of the Brazilian post office showing that there's no package for me in Brazil to be delivered. On the AliExpress site, the package status is delivered. Now we wait for the AliExpress decision. If I lose $200 or not? Dude, I thought you were going to tell me like, oh, hey, Mav, I built it, and I got really inspired, and I got carried away, and I painted it. You should check out my paint. Or I thought you were going to say, hey, Mav, I finished my first one. I got really inspired. I also built a master grade one. Hey, Mav, I bought the other suits because I loved the Sandrock one. Check them out. That is absolutely, like, bullshit. I hate Brazil's like taxing laws, their import laws. Again, I need to make a graphic here, Timon, where I just hit where it's like screw Brazil's like 100% tax import thing, because I forget it exists, and then I remember you as my friend, and I remember how much I absolutely hate it and how infuriating it is. So if there's anything we can do here at Good Mav Ugly, or even over on Bounding Into Comics to help you out here, you know, spreading some word or whatever, let me know, because that is absolutely awful dog shit. And keep me posted, because I'm like angry on your side. Like, the seller messed up. That's not on you. That is on his ass. Let's see. Let's see. Yeah, so Volume Dealer says, Galactus has to be taller than the Baxter Building. He has to be gigantic. I'm okay if he's not bigger than the Earth. Yeah, I think I'm okay with him not being bigger than the Earth, because I think once you get, because of the MCU, the grounded nature of it makes it, like, if you have Galactus bigger than the world in comic books, you know, the medium, the storytelling, your brain is more easily able to go, I get it. I can sort of ignore it. It's a big magic spaceman. He can do big magic space things. When you have a grounded reality like this, and you have let's say a planet-sized Galactus come, well, now you have to deal with what happened to the tides, what happened to the moon, our orbit, what happened to the satellites, because these are all things that have sort of been brought up before. So like that's one of the big issues I have with the end of Eternals. They pop out a celestial from the core of the fucking Earth, and it's just business as usual from there on out. Nobody addresses like the changing ocean patterns, the changing ecosystem. What is a giant, and again, it's not just a continent, it is a celestial whose hand is jutting out into the stratosphere and is visible from space, like Fooly Cooley style. And you're telling me no change happens to our pull on the moon or our orbit or any of the meteors that whiz by us all the time? Like, it just opens you up to weird questions like that. So yeah, I'm with you guys. I'm okay if he's not bigger than the Earth. I do need him to be absolutely fucking gigantic. I'm hoping right here, Volume Dealer, that what we're looking at is, I'm presuming it's the Baxter Building, but I'm hoping it is a sort of, what's the right term? Honestly, the right term is like a comic book accurate Baxter Building. I'm seeing this as like the Avengers Tower. It's giant. It's a big landmark. It's not, you know, the high rise downtown in Fresno. This is, you know, bigger, 2-3 times bigger than the Empire State Building, right? That's what I'm imagining. So the scale to me works if he's just like peering inside and, you know, because I kind of see him being almost as wide as the building. We're all making a bunch of assumptions here, though. I think bottom line is I am excited. Like, I think this gives me more confidence in Galactus than probably anything else they probably could have done. I do think he's going to be at least a giant guy, a big guy for you. But we'll have to see. I'm not the most optimistic for the overall movie. Again, Galactus, you look cool. I'm with you, my buddy. Volume Dealer says, I heard that Val bought the Avengers Tower. Oh, in the Fantastic Four movie. So I haven't heard anything about that. My guess is that it's going to be, since it's an alternate universe, we're going to have, there was no Avengers. It was just the Fantastic Four, and they were the ones who, like, it's just, they built it there instead of Tony. Like, that's sort of what I imagine is going to happen. But at this point, who knows? I don't know anything they're going to do with Fantastic Four. Again, I can't get over Pedro Pascal. What, like, the laziest, most desperate fucking casting I've seen from Marvel in a very, very, very long time. In fact, it was quite possibly the laziest leak I saw from, or the laziest casting I saw from Marvel, until we got, I had an image up, damn it. Until we got this. Oh my goodness. Let us talk about, you know, I know we were going to talk about comic books, but I think with DC and the MCU, we're on that topic. Let's stick here for a second. Will you load? You will not load because I clearly have like ad blockers and stuff up that are blocking your connection. So, oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Let's go to Twitter. Let's go to Robert Downey. And yes, so in case you guys did not see the news, oh, there's the sound. There's a longer clip that I want to look. Oh, I think it is this one because it's 21 seconds. Okay, obviously we all got the big news out of San Diego Comic-Con this year. This was Marvel's big shebang. This is what they brought to blow everyone away. Robert Downey Jr. is back in the MCU. Marvel finally decided to pay him $9 billion. And instead of any sort of Iron Man, or at least right now, any sort of Iron Man, we are looking at him playing Doctor Doom. Again, whether it's a variant of Doctor Doom who happens to be Tony, whether it is him playing Doctor Doom as a separate character, we do not know. But that is what we are looking forward to going forward in the MCU. Obviously, we also got the news that the previous Avengers Kang Dynasty, which was Avengers 5 for about the last year, will now be Avengers Doomsday. They are both going to obviously link up, and both of them will star Robert Downey Jr. as Doom and feature the Russo brothers on directing duties, who did, you know, you'll remember them from Civil War, Winter Soldier, Avengers Endgame, Avengers Infinity War. They will also be joined by screenwriter Marcus McFeely, who worked with the Russos in penning those films. There was also a co-writer who hasn't been brought back yet. Hopefully he does, because he was sort of Marcus something. I forget what the other half of that team is, but there's another member of that writing duo who I hope comes back, because I don't know if you want to put the entirety of everything on the shoulders of one of them. But that's the announcement we got Saturday night out of Comic-Con. Here, for those of you who haven't seen it, here is the reveal. And I'm sure you've all seen the reveal, but there's a quote here, if this is the right clip, from the Russo brothers that really just makes me sort of roll my eyes, and I would like to present as the thesis statement for this next discussion. Oh, this is not the damn video. Oh my goodness. I don't care about the cheering. I need... Jacob, I know you're out there. I know you guys watched the right one on your stream on Monday because I was watching. Where the hell... Ugh. I almost guarantee too that if that Marvel video that I tried to play, like from the Marvel website, oh, was this it?
Then I think we're gonna need the greatest actor. Ladies and gentlemen, imaginable possibilities.
Yes, okay, this is it. I want you guys to listen to what the Russos say right here as they're about to introduce Robert Downey Jr. as Dr. Doom. All right, just we'll take a listen.
And I think we're gonna need the greatest actor in the world to play that character. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, as proof of the unimaginable possibilities in the Marvel multi-universe, we give you the one person who could play Victor Von Doom.
Whoa. Yay! Yay! And then just puts on the Tony Stark glasses. So for those of you who didn't catch what I was trying to point out, I'm going to play the part right here. And it's what, I believe this is Joe who's talking right here.
To play that character.
You know, we're bringing in the greatest actor. And then...
Ladies and gentlemen, as proof of the unimaginable possibilities in the Marvel multi-universe.
As a result or an example of the infinite possibilities from the Marvel multiverse. Like, or I didn't even quote it right, and I feel like I need to get the quote right to really sell how awful this is.
Proof of the unimaginable possibilities.
As proof of the unimaginable possibilities in the Marvel multiverse, multi-universe. I don't know why he said that. I think he just stuttered there. But so I bring this up because if you guys caught me, you know, over on Jacob's show on, you know, in his chat on Tuesday, if you caught me over on the Bounding Into Comics stream on Wednesday, or if you've talked to me on Twitter, you will know I am not a big fan of this casting. This to me is 4,000% the death knell of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Like this to me, you have officially run out of ideas when you're going back to not only bring back Robert Downey Jr., but bring back like you're not bringing him back as Iron Man. You're now making him like, it's not even a cameo. You're making him an integral part of your cinematic universe. Volume Dealer says, I think he misspoke because he was nervous and didn't want to say anything else. Misspoke or almost slipped up. I can see that. Like, I do definitely get that he was I think he was vamping a little bit, trying to be like, and like, you know, trying to hype up the crowd, like, hey, ladies and gentlemen. I just think that's sort of a Freudian slip moment, just a perfect encapsulation of the of what's going on with Marvel, where they want to tell us, look at all of these possibilities. Look at everything we can do. Look at how imaginative this is, the Marvel Cinematic Universe you know and love. And we're just going right back to the beginning. And again, it's not even just like Robert Downey Jr. playing Doom. He's coming back. He's serving in the next two big Avengers movies. They brought back the Russo brothers. Everything that they sort of told us they were going to do after Endgame has now completely blown up in their face. And that's not just on the bent of Jonathan Majors and the whole Kang thing collapsing. It's not even just that. It's just, or not just, it's that, it's the failure of all their films and their projects. It's the fact that they stretch themselves too thin. It's the fact that nobody trusts the brand anymore. You don't do this move unless you are desperate. This is your nuclear option. At this point, you're bringing back Robert Downey Jr. because you know this is just a Member Berries-esque casting at this point. It's just, you remember Iron Man. He's even doing the Iron Man like pose that sort of defined his character. I'm surprised he wasn't standing there going like that, like, oh, it'll be a snap to come back to this. Like, I genuinely, it doesn't feel good as a fan to see somebody get this desperate. Sort of like, have you guys ever been out with, like, let's say a friend, right? And they say they are talking to a girl at a party or talking to a girl at an event, and they're clearly not landing. And the girl clearly isn't like interested. She's maybe humoring them, but your buddy just keeps trying to get her interested. And it slowly accelerates from like, I'm just trying to talk to you, to let me tell you some accomplishments, to maybe I'll make a fool of myself, just to sort of tear down the walls between us, see if I can crack through. And it's not going to work. But you're sitting there going, dude, stop, please, for your own dignity. Like, can you, like, she's saying no. You got to either go like hit on another girl or not hit on another girl, but like this avenue's not working. And your buddy is still going like, no, I got it on this one. And then you wake up in the morning and you go, yeah, I bet you have a shitty hangover now because you spent like $900 trying to get her drinks and all you did was get messed up because she did not that wasn't an interest. All you did was make a fool of yourself. That's what I feel like the MCU is here. Like, don't get that desperate, dude. Walk away. You can say, I struck out tonight. And it might suck, and your buddies might razz you. But you can at least your buddies can razz you and go, you struck out, instead of going, hey, remember how fucking weird you got when that girl said she didn't want to talk to you and you spent the entire rest of the night trying to get her to just look at you? Yeah, you're a fucking dummy, dude. Like, there's such a distinct difference between that. Marvel is just incapable of saying like, yeah, okay, I've messed up, I need to go home. I say this all the time, right? Like, Marvel just needs to admit they, like, Iger and Feige sort of did this a little bit earlier in the year during the whole investor battle, but they really need to come out and go, we lost the plot. Like, we messed up. We really need to get back to it. We're sorry. What we're doing isn't working. Let's try again. But they won't do that. They will continue doubling down and going, this is the best thing ever. Everybody's going to love this. And now that they've tried almost everything else, they've exhausted everything. So many good stories, so many good characters, so many good arcs, events, all of the stuff have been wasted by the MCU on a joke, a quick cameo, a reference here or there, the whole Ultron storyline completely condensed and ruined because they needed to jam that thing into an hour and a half or an hour and 45 minutes. That's exactly it, Volume Dealer. That's what I was getting to. Volume Dealer says, the thing is, they had to make a move. And I agree with you. I really, really do believe that at this point, so what am I trying to say here? I think we all sort of already knew what their move was going to be. We all knew that Secret Wars was ramping up to this giant multiversal crossover that was going to see at least people like, Andrew Garfield, Tobey Maguire, probably someone like Wesley Snipes, all of them brought back for something. If not at the very least, maybe Chris Evans as Captain America or RDJ as Iron Man. We knew we were building to that. So what Marvel needed to do was just go, okay, we need to stick to our guns and let's make these movies, this plan that we have, let's make this the best thing we can do. And then, then we'll see where we're at. This was, they had no confidence. They know where they're at. They're going, it's sort of like they didn't need to show their hand like this. This move, honestly, probably could have waited until after those Avengers movies. But now you have, like look at it from a sort of a meta viewpoint. You go, Avengers Endgame, everything ends on a high note. Everybody loves the MCU. Robert Downey Jr., beloved and like adulated by fans. Then you have a period, and you guys all said, as part of this grand experiment, because we are Marvel. We are going to move on. We are going on to new heroes, new Avengers. Like the world is ever evolving and moving forward. You put that standard, and then we go through the last couple years, like almost 8 years now, of mediocrity, of you guys just fumbling the ball, of nobody really knowing what to do with the MCU, and so now we get to this point where, you know, they're going back on everything. They're going back on their plans for, you know, we're never going to touch that Robert Downey Jr. moment again. Well, you're going to have to address it at some point because he looks the exact Doom and Iron Man are going to look the exact same. We're never going to bring RDJ back. We don't want to get that desperate. We're going to, you know, move on with new Avengers. All of this just signals, yeah, like we are cooked. We need this. This is, and the problem is, look, I think RDJ is a fantastic actor. I really, really like him and not just as Tony, as pretty much anything he's in. I get a lot out of his performances, like A Scanner Darkly, Due Date even, which is kind of a really bad Zach Galifianakis comedy. Oppenheimer, obviously. I mean, he won the Academy Award for it. He's a good actor. I have no doubt that he's going to deliver a performance that's at least entertaining to watch on the screen, right? And I had Leon from Words of Paradise on the Bounding Show on Wednesday, and he brought up a good point, which was, you know, yes, this is desperate. Yes, this is dumb, but it could work in a way if RDJ is playing like Doom. You're not referencing Iron Man. He's not in, like, there's no Tony. You just go, I am Doom. Maybe keep him in makeup the entire time. Maybe keep him in the face mask the entire time. RDJ could deliver a really good Doom. The problem is, at the end of the day, no matter what he does with that, it's still going to go down as key jangling. You're bringing him back just for 2 movies to go, look, guys, everybody, he's here. And it might be some really nice keys that you're jangling, but at the end, you go, okay, that was that. What's after this? There's no sort of foresight to it, unless they sign him on for 7 more movies. But at the rate they're paying, there's no way that's going to happen. I mean, something like really underrated that I think not a lot of people are really talking about is the budget for these 2 Avengers movies is already at nearly $200 million. And that is just between the Russo brothers and RDJ's paycheck. $200 million for like not even like the shiny baubles that you add to your Gundam kit at the very end. Like, this is not core to what you needed, but that's what you spent. So that's not factoring in shooting costs, production costs, marketing costs, whatever other actors they're going to ask to come on screen and play a character, right? A lot of actors from superhero films nowadays are in demand, especially older ones like, you know, Jennifer Garner. So okay, maybe Jennifer Garner was a really bad example, but you guys know what I mean. Like, it's not going to come cheap. So you guys, they're essentially making I gotta imagine like a $2 billion bet here. And I just do not know if it's going to pay off. Do I think audiences will be interested? Yes. Do I think people will see it? Absolutely. Do I think it's going to do better than probably most Marvel films in recent years outside of Deadpool and Spider-Man? Probably, just on the sheer fact that it is an event film, and people are going to like seeing RDJ again. Again, maybe all the people, like the normies, they don't really care about what we're caring about. They just go, "Ooh, look, actor back. I like that actor. I will go see actor perform." So that's just sort of, yeah. I don't really even know where they're going to go with this. I don't even, or that's what I wanted to say. I don't even. Okay. Are we back? Are we back in action? I see my connection slowly ramping back up. Okay. I think we're good. You guys are not going to believe why my stream just died. Okay. So yes, you guys are all correct. I did just die there. I have no idea, or I do have an idea what happened. Yes, no, maybe so, says Volume Dealer. But, okay, what happened here is that today is the day that I am supposed to renew my fee for my VPN. and I just haven't gotten around to it today yet. So they're asking for it, but they cut off the service. So in the middle of the stream, I'm connected to my VPN. They just went click, and so it just cut off my connection from the internet. I literally just got disconnected, like wholesale. But I'm back. No need to worry about any of that stuff either. I have all the money. I just got to go in and like manually enter everything. So everything is good on that end. It's just a very funny, what do you want to call it? Coincidence or timing rather. Back in Action was a good Brendan Fraser movie. Most of them tend to be. I honestly will say that, except for like Monkey Bones was really weird. I feel like I might get more out of that if I go back and watch it now. But I feel like as a kid, I was just like, I have absolutely no idea. It's 3 p.m. Saturday? What? Okay, but yeah, so what I was talking about, or at least the point I remember that I was on before the connection dropped out, people are going to go see this. People are going to see it because they like RDJ. But the overall excitement is not, I don't think it was as big of a home run as Marvel was hoping it was going to be. You have places like The Hollywood Reporter, Variety, Deadline, all of these places coming out and going, RDJ's back, but does anybody care? Is this really good for Marvel? Is this exciting or is this desperate? You've got so many tweets going, okay, he's back, but gosh, you guys are out of ideas, aren't you? Like, how did you get this low that you had to go back to RDJ? And sort of one of my biggest points to all of this, to the just sort of lack of interest in this, the deep lack of interest is were you making a Saturday no, that's a Friday joke, because I was gonna go, it's Friday, you ain't got no job, you ain't got no car, ain't got nothing to do, let's get you high. That's what I thought you were going there for, Volume Dealer. But check out, I want you guys to listen to the crowd when RDJ reveals himself, right? Woo! Okay, there are cheers there. We're all hearing them. But I don't know about you guys, and I don't even know if I have the right words to describe this yet, but the energy just doesn't feel there. There's that initial like, whoa, it's RDJ, and then people are cheering, but it almost feels like they're just cheering because that's what you're supposed to do at this point. Like, we got a big announcement, I have to keep cheering. It doesn't feel like there's that much enthusiasm as, you know, back in the days when we got revelations like, gosh, what did we get back in the day? What were some cool things we got? I don't even know, actually, considering that when I was like in Hall H back in like the early 2000s, late 2000s, getting all these Marvel like panels and announcements, they would announce actors, but it was like, okay, I remember Chris Evans from Not Another Teen Movie. That's crazy. I haven't seen him in years. There was no like, oh my God, it's him. I don't even really know if we've had sort of that level of casting yet in the MCU in this way. But I digress. So, yeah, no, I heard that too, Volume Dealer. Volume Dealer says there's a woman who shouted his name before that reveal. Chris Gore knew as well. Here, where is it? Yeah, you can hear her. Robert! I feel like she probably just was making a guess because of what the Russos were hinting at. I feel like Gore probably had some sort of insider knowledge, considering that's what he does, and he is very well connected. I think a lot of people, as soon as this came out, like as soon as they started marching out the Dooms and saying Doom is next, I think a lot of people probably could have guessed like, oh, we're probably getting RDJ, aren't we? Like, it just, all of it sort of seems like that's what they were building to with the gravitas and everything. And again, I'm pissed about this particularly because I'm a giant Doctor Doom fan, and he is one of those like unapologetic, I am who I am, get the hell out of my way, like villains. He is Doom. He is Doom, right? Like that is, like Richards, I am Doom. He is like, his hubris is his biggest weakness, but he's got like the ability to back it up, and he's such a compelling villain with such a huge presence in the Marvel universe that I feel like wasting it on RDJ for like a cheap cameo like this doesn't work. Again, if you do make up Doctor Doom and you never see RDJ's face, and we don't have to do any of this stupid, oh, he has Tony's face, I can't do that. Again, shout out to my boy Cider over at Bounding Into Comics. Good friend, great writer, great content creator for our YouTube channel. But he has this uncanny mutant ability that we like to call Cider Predicts. And he always nails these predictions. He called Doctor Doom even before, like when Ant-Man and the Wasp bombed. Now, even before Jonathan Majors was out, Cider was like, this is absolutely who we're going to be getting. And Cider made this prediction that, yeah, that's exactly how it's going to play out. The Avengers are fighting Doom, his mask chips, something falls off, and they see Tony. And, oh, I can't fight Tony. That's Tony. And then, maybe Dr. Doom. That's how Doomsday ends, right? Like, oh, he's about to detonate the bomb. We need to stop him. Okay, shoot him. It's the only way to take him out. Crack. Oh, we missed with that first shot. We have a second shot ready. But it's Tony, like in Obi-Wan Kenobi when they had Anakin and Darth Vader. Like, oh, it's Tony. I can't, Yelena. Like, I can't do it. And then he goes beep, and then that's your snap moment. And then the next movie comes in with, oh, maybe it's not even a bomb. Maybe it's like, oh, I'm gonna force the multiversal incursion or whatever. I'm gonna destroy that Earth. That's what it's going to be. And as long as you can avoid dumb bullshit like that, very dumb expected bullshit like that, I will be open to seeing RDJ as Doom. A problem, and I know we talked about this a little bit before, Volume Dealer, is that Marvel and Disney as a whole and sort of Hollywood as an industry, they're not going to let that happen, man. They're not going to go, RDJ is fucking back, ladies and gentlemen, and then put his ass behind a mask. I think they should. I think good actors do it and they don't care, and really acting should be about the performance. Do I believe you are the character? Again, Carl Urban over in fucking Dread. One of the best performances ever, and he never took off his helmet. Darth Vader, a compelling performance. We didn't need him to take off his helmet until our Return of the Jedi because there was a point to it. So that they want RDJ as like the marketing face. They want him front and center going, RDJ is back, so that everybody makes their damn gift sets, everybody makes their clips. That is what the hell they want. And that is what torpedoes a lot of my hopes for this, is that they won't do anything cool like keep him in his mask the entire time. They're going to have the, oh, Tony, it's you. And it's at that point I'm just going to be like, Shinkai says, would be better if they were like, oh, it's Tony, but you aren't our Tony. Anyway, Hulk can smile as if knowing he can finally have his punching bag again. Yeah, like, I would love that sort of subversion where he goes like, I am Doom, like, I am Stark. And then everybody goes like, but you're not ours. We get it. Like, I would love that. But Hollywood's not, like, or let me rephrase this. Marvel is not that smart, and they're not that big of a risk taker. They're going to deliver all of the very tired beats that we are all saying, or that we are all predicting. Volume Dealer says, with them doing this, they want people talking because we don't know what angle they're coming from. Oh yeah, no, this is how you build hype. Now everybody's going, ooh, I'm interested in Secret Wars. I'll check out Secret Wars. And, we don't know anything about the story, but with everybody's opinions being changed because of RDJ, that sort of changes the conversation from they're cooked and it's awful and the MCU is done to they're cooked and they're awful, but RDJ might at least be a little bit entertaining, so let's see what he's going to do. So yeah, in the end, putting bottom line to this entire subject, I guess, it really, really dumb casting could be interesting, but as like a one-off thing, maybe like if you were doing like an animated series or you're doing like a CW show and you had him cameo. But I think making him your Doom is, you're really, what's the right term here? It's sort of like, if you just put in a little more effort, this whole saga could have been a giant win for you guys. You could have gotten a really compelling Doctor Doom actor. You could have had a really compelling, multiversal arc. You could have had your next villain for the next set of Avengers movies for the next few years. Even, introduce Doom, have him do the Avengers, and then he's the villain after that. That could work too. That's a difference in the formula. But instead, they threw away all of that potential for like literally the cheapest win that they could get, right? And it's sort of like, to give it an analogy before we get out of this subject, it's like you're saving up money for a video game, right? Let's say you really want this video game. It's $60. Oh, right? You go to the store one day and you don't have your $60 yet. You're still working on it. You're still getting there. But you see another game that flashy, it has, it looks entertaining, and it's about $20. However, you know that upon buying that game, it's probably not going to give you the same level of depth and satisfaction. There's a reason it's $20. There's a reason it's the easy option. But you get to the decision of, do I want to spend my $20 now and get this instant satisfaction and play this game and get whatever little entertainment I can get out of it? Or do I want to wait and save up my money and spend the $60 to get this very robust, like big production thing that I've been saving up for, that I'm invested in, that I really wanted? It's that, I mean, that's not a perfect analogy, but that's sort of where we are at. They're throwing away a championship for an easy win, essentially. And that's probably the best term I can put that in. Let me grab some water real quick. But yeah, that is the Doctor Doom announcement. I'm not really, again, I could stand to be impressed, but this does nothing for me. This makes me just feel absolutely, whichever word you want to say. I was watching a show earlier and they said absolutely, and now it's stuck in my head. But yeah, this is just, to me, it's desperate. Let's see. Volume Dealer brought this up. And I do think this is very much worth addressing. The Demon in an Armor story does exist. It seems like a cool take from the comic pages I saw. It's a non-what if story. So it is and it isn't. Let me pull up some of it, because I was literally, I read this the other day because because I had that exact same thought and I remembered the story. So it very much is a what if. It takes place on an alternate universe, but the premise of it, essentially, and I'm going to pull it up here. Don't worry, guys. I've got my, I've got everything you want, or I've got, whatchamacallit? I have visual aids. I don't know why it took me so long to land on the word visual aids. So yes, there is this story. It was a what if that was published in the late 2000s, where Doctor Doom and Tony start, their relationship begins in college. They're actually roommates. But in a twist, Doctor Doom is the one who goes on to be sort of the philanthropist hero, or victor rather, and Tony is the one who sort of gets a chip on his shoulder, starts like, you're like, I'm the best out of all of you. You guys should be listening to me, not Victor. And then like, see, like, oh, you guys want to oust me from my company, all of this sort of stuff. Basically, Doom is living the legacy of Tony, and Tony is pissed about it. So Tony becomes a supervillain, Doom becomes a hero, they start fighting, and yeah, like you can even see here, I'm no warrior, and this exo suit was designed to rescue, not fight, but I have to do something. No, you don't need to apologize for your mistake at all, Volume Dealer. Are you kidding me? What ifs, alternate universes, they all count. Who knows? Like, at it's a 50-50 toss-up at this point, whether something in comic books is canon or a what if Elseworlds. But yeah, see, you get sort of a good flip on the whole dynamic, and I'm betting good money this will, if they don't do, or even no matter what they do, whether it's Doom is a Stark variant or Doom is Doom, they're probably going to do something that inspired by this, where Doom and Tony are roommates. Maybe, same things all happen, but maybe the armors stay on like the appropriate person. I have no idea what I'm saying, but I definitely see Stark Doom competition. That's how you have another actor plays an alternate version of Tony Stark, and that's where maybe you get that. I don't know, that like that's all future speculation, but yeah, you're right. There is stuff that you can pull from. I do not trust Marvel within its desperation to have that good of a strategy to pull anything this unique or charming or respectful to canon off, if you will. Because again, they're wounded right now, and wounded animals don't think. They just flail, they just swing. So we might get, at best, we might get a nod to this, right? Like, oh, hey, look, Tony's walking through, Doctor Doom Tony is walking through his armor hall, and there's the demon in the armor suit where it's the gold and red Doom suit over there. Like, maybe that's what we'll get, but yeah, I highly doubt we're going to get anything genuinely good. Yeah, Volume Dealer says the story will be 5 minutes long. I mean, do you remember, what movie is that? Is that Far From Home, where they had the whole, they tied in Mysterio's origin story to him hating Tony Stark, and it really all was all of 4 minutes and like a recap? We talked about this a little earlier, but they're not spending time here. There is no time to be spent. They are desperate. They're going, we got to get a win. What the hell can we do? Throw things at the wall until something works for us. And unfortunately, they're going to learn after all of their bag of tricks is emptied, like, oh man, we could have combined those better. We could have used those better. There was way better ways to go about this. So that's sort of my read on this whole Doctor Doom casting situation. Good luck, Marvel. I'm personally not impressed. I genuinely think that this is a sign of you guys giving up. I could stand to be impressed, and maybe you guys will, but at this point, if I were to put down money, it is in the fact that the MCU is probably either done or getting heavy, hard rebooted with 500% less budget post Secret Wars. That's kind of where I think we are at this point. Yeah, Shinkai says something, been reading RE0 and something similar happens in the recent arc, not going to spoil. I know what you're talking about, and yeah, that's actually a good comparison point for them to take from. Hey, look, if Leslie Headland could take, is inspired by Cowboy Bebop for The Acolyte, why can't the Russo brothers be inspired by RE0 for the next Avengers movies? I'm kidding. Leslie Headland, I love the interview because she goes, oh, I looked at Cowboy Bebop as a theme, like a thematic inspiration for the Acolyte, because it goes from like really serious moments to goofy moments, and I'm like, oh, you watched Cowboy Bebop, you didn't understand what you were taking away from it. Like you didn't understand the depth of this at all. Like you just that whole bit is sort of what you see out of Hollywood, where they don't see things as they are. They see them as like pieces, like, oh, this goes here, that goes there, this, now I do this. They don't know why they're doing it. They're just doing it. So yeah, that's really all I have to say about Disney, about Marvel. Good luck. You guys are clearly not long for this world at this rate. I will be here to buy whatever merch you want to put on 75% off when you eventually shut everything down. Like Lorena, my girl, I don't know if you're here or if you even watch the show, but she goes to the Disney warehouse like blowout sale every year, where Disneyland sells all of the merch that they couldn't move in the parks for like 70, 80, 90% off. I can't wait to see what we're going to start getting out of like Captain America merch, Avengers merch. It's going to be a ride. So go check out Lorena. She's the best. Yeah, that's all. That is all I really have to say about the MCU right now. Volume Dealer says, I'd love an Exo Man of War movie. Probably thinking about that because of the Exo Man of War Iron Man crossover game from back in the day. I would too. I just, at this point, I don't know who you would like trust to handle it. I think it's a very, very simple story that can be done. Gladiator from the Roman times gets resurrected in the future with an exosuit and has to go stop bad guys. Very simple premise. I think you could pull it off very much in a vein similar to Samaritan, the it's not Nick Cage, the Sylvester Stallone movie, Samaritan, that he did for Amazon. You could do something like you can even do something like Bloodshot, even though that was sort of stupid because they never really made him Bloodshot. But, just a more grounded, focused, one character movie, I think could really work, especially with the premise of Exo. And, yeah, like I would be behind you. Oh my goodness. You don't know about this, Volume Dealer? Here, let me pull it up real quick because, oh, that's not going to help me find anything. So it was for the Sega CD back in the day, or the Sega Saturn, excuse me. Yeah, it was a team-up game between Iron Man and Exo. Here, where's some gameplay of both of them? Well, here's like Iron Man. Or here, I want intro and gameplay, no commentary. Here, maybe this will work. Yeah, see, like loading, and then you had select your hero. Do you want to play as Iron Man? Barbarian, I thought maybe it was in the recent Valiant comics. Didn't the recent like reboot make him into like a Roman like gladiator? I thought that was it. I knew he was I knew either way. Exo is a like an old school fighting man. Why am I not finding any like gameplay of XO? Like, oh, there we go. Here, yeah. See, so we had Iron Man. You could also play as XO. It's actually not bad. It's a little jank because like its hit detection is a little weird because obviously what is the term? Like there's a term for it, like the rasterized that's not even the rotoscoped graphics or like the realistic graphics that they tried to go for here make it so like there's like 2 pixels in front of you that might get hit or whatever. So it's a little rough, but honestly, like honest to God, it's not that bad. I actually have a lot of fun with it. I'm also just a big fan of like side scroller platformers like this. So if you have access to either a Saturn and a copy of the game, or you want to sail the high seas. And I can recommend that here because it is not available anywhere else to play right now except on a Saturn copy, and they don't make them anymore. The licenses are all gone, so you can go check this out. I actually highly recommend it. It is a pretty damn good game. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, Volume 2 says they spent $1,000 to make this. I don't even know if they went that far. Again, it's on the Sega Saturn, not a Nintendo or a PlayStation. They probably went, $500 here. All right, let's see. We have about 10 minutes left in the showtime. What? I didn't mean to pause. I wanted it to keep going. That was weird. So with our 10 minutes left, I think I want to do a very quick rundown of some comic book stuff that I didn't get the chance to talk about when I was gone or any of that fun stuff. So let's with that in mind, let's shift gears, and we're going to talk about, again, we're going to rapid fire through these. Maybe we'll talk about them a little more next week, but I really just need to get my thoughts out about how stupid some of this stuff is. Let's go to the big board. Yeah, Zero. Yeah. Oh, wow, that game. And then Volume says, that's weird. I never knew they did a collab. It was a very one-time thing. Again, remember how we were talking about the Witchblade anime back and how in the 90s, all of these indie, over-the-top, gratuitous, like violent, edgy comic books were the thing? Well, you got Witchblade animes, you got Exo Manowar crossing over with Marvel, all of this different stuff. It's all sort of products from that era. Maybe I'll do a video on it. That's actually kind of really interesting. But anyway, let's start off with the latest issue here of Spider-Gwen Ghost Spider. Really not that good of a series. Really, I'm not even reading the series. It's a very boring series. The basic premise of the series is Gwen has finally been taken by Gwen has been transported by the TVA, the same TVA from Deadpool and Wolverine and all that fun stuff, to the 616. She's no longer in an alternate universe. Again, this is very emblematic or symptomatic of a problem I hate in modern comics, which is we can't just have alternate universes anymore. We can't have one-off stories or different worlds. Everything has to be in the exact same damn continuity, right? Like, thank God, like for now, the Ultimates are their own thing, right? But I fear eventually we're going to get that older Peter Parker smashed into the 616, or we're going to get Iron Lad smashed into the 616, or the Doom over there smashed into the 616. Like, it's so bad. Yeah, Zero says the pastel abuse. I'm not gonna lie, I actually really like the coloring on this cover. I'm not a big fan of Mark Brooks's art. I think it is a bit lifeless and a bit stiff. Like, it doesn't feel like it feels like he doesn't understand like how to use art and like focuses and all that sort of stuff. Like, everything feels like it's all vying for your attention at the same time, and it's not for me. I'm not a big fan of his work, but I do like the composition and the colors here. Something about this cover just makes you go like, Oh, I like that. But again, the characters, the figures themselves, not a big fan. Yeah, exactly. Mark Brooks explains it all. So the reason I bring up this particular book is because this week we got Spider-Gwen getting a new power set. So for whatever reason, they don't explain even what it really is in the book itself or how she got it. She, like Miles, now has the ability to, boom, blast electric energy. Very, very fucking stupid idea. I'm sorry for the harsh words, but like there's literally no other descriptor I have for this. This just shows to me that you guys are running out of ideas. Like what is, this isn't even a spider power. You're just giving Miles, you're giving all these characters new powers because, and like that's not even getting into the bit about you're giving them new powers in the way that that's how they solve their problems now, is unlocking new powers. They don't use the powers they have to be strategic. They don't do the things they can do to be unique and find a solution to the problem. They just go, oh, I'm power now. I'm better than you. And again, to really drive home how like lazy and stupid this is, these characters already have really unique power sets to themselves within their own, Spider family rule set. Miles had the bioelectric shock and the invisibility. I thought those were kind of neat little things. Like I thought the Venom shock as like a thing that maybe like stuns you for a couple seconds. Thought that was a brilliant idea. But now that it's just I can shoot electricity, you guys, why did you do that? You could have done so many cool, interesting things, but you went the lazy, I can make a sword and just blast you away. Gwen, I don't think people remember this. Gwen's costume is not fabric. Gwen is wearing a fucking symbiote. Like, you have a walking, talking symbiote member who isn't crazy, who doesn't do the, I gotta eat brains. No, we're fine. You have that character, and yet you decide to just ignore that and make her an electric blaster. It's so lazy. It's so boring. All it really, again, this is sort of the RDJ problem where you guys do this and it's just to go, look, she can do this now. Isn't that so crazy? You don't think about what this means for the character. You don't think about how it devalues your canon, your lore, your all that stuff. You just go, look, isn't that so awesome? Gwen's got a power now. Cool, she does. But there's so many other problems about it. Yeah, Zero says Marvel is treating comic books like the shonen manga. I've been guilty of using that comparison in the past, but recently I've stopped using it because honestly, Zero, I thought about it. Think of things like JoJo. Think of things like One Piece. Think of things even like Dragon Ball, up until the Buu saga. The characters all got stronger and stands evolved or Super Saiyan levels got unlocked, but never did a fight boil down to just like, oh, I'm going to get more stronger all of a sudden and I'm going to kick your ass, right? Like even when Goku turned into a Super Saiyan, Frieza still had his number. It took Goku a lot of like strategizing and dodging and all that stuff to make it work. Luffy, whose fight is that? Against Crocodile is one of my favorite examples because Luffy's got all of his powers. He doesn't have his gears yet or anything, but he's for where we are in the story, he's top tier power, but he doesn't just blow Crocodile away because he can't. So what does he do? He has to bloody his hand, because that's water and that will touch Crocodile. Oh, and he can't just punch him. He has to distract him by slingshotting his arm around all these pillars so that he doesn't know where he's coming from. That's the sort of stuff that I think we should always see more of in comic books. You even see that. That's a very common theme in early comic books too. Like go read Stan Lee's Spider-Man or he does that a lot. Like he gets into trouble, but he doesn't just go, I'm stronger now. He goes, I've been thrown, like Dr. Octopus threw me through this wall. I gotta approach, but I gotta be smart about this. I know, I'll web something up there, and when he hits me next, it'll pull it down and it'll come with me or whatever. Hey, that was a pretty good real life pun work from my green screen there. So, oh no. So it's a bit different. It is, if we're going to do a shonen comparison, I would say it's a little like Naruto, because at the end of that, they were all just getting like, oh, I can do blah, 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 blah. Oh, I can do blah, 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 blah. That's what it feels like to me if we're going to do a shonen comparison. But all in all, overall, just completely lazy, completely showing you guys have a genuine lack of creativity, especially when it comes to the spider people. It shows me that the spider people, outside of somebody like, any spider person post Miles pretty much, you guys didn't have a plan for outside of representation and marketing. And now you go, okay, now how do we make him a character? Well, just give him... This is basically... Remember in the 90s when they would make all these action figure lines and you would start getting really random characters? Like Energy Blast Batman, Ski Patrol Spider-Man, right? And it's like, this makes no sense. They've never done this, but we know why they did it, because it allows them to sell a different toy. It allows them to market it out more and go, look at all these things Batman can do. It's exactly what you're seeing right here, just on the comic book page. And so I can see through you, Marvel. It's very transparent, and it's kind of sad, let's be honest. All right, next book up that we are going to hit. Oh, I'm already at the end of it. Ultimate Spider-Man number 7. There is not a lot to actually talk about here. I just wanted to stop by and say this is a damn good issue. If you are not currently reading Ultimate Spider-Man, I highly recommend it. Even if I know like Timon is out there and he's gonna go, no, I don't want to do it, but like I'm telling you guys, this is good story work. Everything is... I had a blast with this issue. I literally put it down and I ran over to Andrew and I said, Andrew, did you read this yet? I gotta talk about it. So kudos to Ultimate Spider-Man. It is a great book. Everybody should keep reading it. That's really all the praise I have for that. Again, the good things, it's really easy to talk about the good things. It's like, dude, it's good. It's great. Look at all this character work. Look at these fights. Look at this art. It's the bad stuff that we have to break down because we need to learn our lessons from it. So, next book we're going to talk about is a little book called Blood Hunt. So, if you guys don't remember, Blood Hunt is it ended on Wednesday. It was the most recent Marvel event headed by Jed MacKay, who, as you guys might remember, I refer to him as the most serviceable Marvel writer of all time because he's not awful, but his books really are just serviceable. You'll get a story, you might enjoy it, but there's no lasting impression. There's no big takeaways. Nobody's going to go back to these runs and go, oh, I need to, like, that was a turning point, or that was an important thing that was added to the character. Who's that Shocker? Did we see a Shocker? Or was that in Ultimate? Here, let me look real quick. Oh, yeah. So that's not Shocker, Volume Dealer. That is you're talking about this guy? That's Ultimate Green Goblin. He's that electricity is his suit like powering on. Like that's what's happening. We've already fought Peter already fought Ultimate Shocker a couple issues ago, and he's just a random like bank robber guy. Very, very low-key origin. I kind of like it, but it works. All right. Let's see. Bring back up Blood Hunt. All right. For those of you who weren't reading Blood Hunt, which I presume is most of you for good reason, the basic premise of the story was we got vampires, y'all. We got vampires across the Marvel Universe. They are blacking out the world. They are trying to take over. Let's take them out. I will admit, and the probable one thing I liked about this, I got to find out what they are. They designed this like, okay, they're called the Blood Coven, and they were like the head vampire's secret, like his team, right? We talked about them before, but because we're wrapping up discussion of this story, oh my goodness, where are we? Where? We'll just touch on them again because it's just a really quick thing. Pardon me again. Goodness. But yeah. Blood Hunt introduced these guys. They're like eldritch horror vampire things. I thought they were really cool. I like their designs. If you guys have talked to me before, you might know I love horror, and when it comes to horror things, I specifically love unsettling, like body horror, play with the natural order of the world type horrors, things like Annihilation, like that's my jam. So this, all of their designs, all of their use, I was really into. Unfortunately, they had like a page appearance, maybe 2 issues at best, and then they were gone. So I just wanted, bye-bye, guys. I'm sure some writer, maybe Dan Slott's going to revive you in a couple years when everybody forgets about you. But I liked you for what you were when you were around. But back to the actual Blood Hunt story. So yeah, that was the story. Vampires trying to take over the world. Avengers and the Marvel Universe all linked together. They beat them back and the day is saved. And of course, so And of course, yeah, everybody, oh, Avengers assembled, let's look to the future. Now, as I've, gotten older and read more comic books and stuff, one of the things I look for in events, especially if I'm going to be investing in them and reading them and spending extra money on them, is what are you aiming for? What is your payoff going to be here, right? Ultimate Invasion, when that was dropping, I was like, okay, you're clearly going to be reviving the Ultimate Universe. Let's see, that's something interesting and neat and cool. Let's see what you're going for here. With Blood Hunt, even from the jump, they were just basically like, there's vampires. All right, that's it. I think I've talked about this before, but vampires are not a threat in Marvel. There's just too many heroes that can just wipe right through them. You've got people like Sentry, you've got people like Spider-Man, you've got Blade, you've got Iron Man, you've got way too many people who can just tear through them to make them a real plausible threat. So even from the jump, I thought Blood Hunt was kind of weak. We've now gotten to the end of it. We've gotten there were some interesting mini-series that were attached to it. Nothing I would even really write home about, but just, there was a Magic one that was kind of interesting. There was a one-shot, a Jubilee one-shot that I kind of enjoyed. But again, nothing that I'm like, you guys need to read Blood Hunt. Like, you guys saw me talking about Ultimate Spider-Man. I do not have that same energy here, right? Very clearly. So that was, I wasn't that interested going into it. At the end of it now, I'm sort of even more or like less interested in it, because for all the hubbubaloo they were doing, the final takeaways for Blood Hunt, the things that have sort of changed in Blood Hunt are, whoops, I'm not even on the right window, is one, Doctor Doom is now the Sorcerer Supreme. He basically says, I can save the world. He goes to Stephen Strange. Stephen says, we need help stopping vampires. Doom says, I can do it. Give me the powers until I'm done saving the world. And he goes, okay, you're Sorcerer Supreme. Save the world. And Doom goes, vampires gone. And then he goes, just kidding. I'm not giving it back. Like, yeah, Doom does nothing halfway. I still need to save the Earth. Little bit, okay. I like the design, and I always like Doom just being a right bastard, right? But we've seen him be Sorcerer Supreme before. It's a little tired, and especially in the context of knowing they're setting up Doomsday now, this just makes me go like, oh, we're getting it. We're movie synergying it. That's what you're doing. You're trying to set up Doom because, like, you want him to be the big bad. You show how important he is. Okay, great. For the next year, we're like comic book readers are going to have to deal with whatever RDJ Doom Marvel wants to put out there. So not really. And by the way, I love Pepe Larraz's art. Like, he's just such a good artist. Like, I hate that they put him on this book, because holy shit, the man can draw. So that was that big status quo change. Is Doom is now Sorcerer Supreme, and Miles Morales is now a vampire. Oh, sorry, there are 3 changes. Doom is Sorcerer Supreme, Miles Morales is now a vampire, and the sun doesn't. Vampires have no weakness anymore in Marvel. The sun does not affect them. So, again, going back to Jed McKay being entirely serviceable, that's all we got out of this event. We got Miles becoming a vampire. Again, another case of, we do not know what to do with this fucking character. Let's give him anything to distinguish him. So remember, on top, so now he is a spider person. He is a vampire. He is a spider person with extra powers, because he has like the bioelectric stuff, and he has the sword and all that. Miles Morales is basically everything at this point. Like, they just keep adding everything to him. What weaknesses does this boy possibly have at this point? So, and yeah, and now he's not even weak to vampires. I've made this joke before, but you look at Miles Morales and I go, wow, if I had a nickel for every time, the Doofenshmirtz thing, if I had a nickel for every time Marvel decided to take a teenage sidekick to one of their biggest hitters and had no idea what to do with their character, so they turned him into a vampire, I would have 2 nickels, which isn't a lot, but it's weird that it happened twice. And I make that joke because literally that's what they did with Jubilee back in the early 2000s. They had no idea what to do with their character. They turned her into a vampire. And that didn't even really work. They kind of shunted her after that. She still got relegated to like the back books of the X line. But my point is, even at that time, she had a weakness. She was still weak to sun. Miles just gets all of it with no downside. Like, absolutely nothing. Yeah, exactly. Weakness, maybe writing, says Shinkai. No, that is very, very perfectly that is what I would say is his weakness. Cruel reminds me of that post Speedball. Oh, you're talking Penance, when you're talking about Penance being on like the Blood Coven. Yeah, I can definitely see that. So Miles gets another upgrade. Again, yay, everybody absolutely loves him. Woohoo, 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 woohoo. But then, yeah, so we actually end this issue with the tease of that upcoming Doom event, One World Under Doom. So, just, what was the point of this event? Like, I don't even know really what the point of this event was. You could have set Doom up as your big next guy in a book anywhere else, and Miles does not need any other sort of extra fucking power. Like he just does not need it. All right, so that is Blood Hunt, and then before we get out of here, we are going to we're gonna break this down real quick, because this is why you come to this show. This is the reason you come to this comic book show over most other comic book shows in the sphere. All right, we finally got another issue of Zeb Wells' Amazing Spider-Man, issue 54. By the way, I forgot to mention this. We did get the announcement at SDCC, and maybe this does make Marvel the winner. Wells' run is ending at 60 issues. Like, we are on the home stretch. Like, previously they said it's coming to an end, but we now have a date. We are so close to getting out of, like, the Zeb Wells zone. I am excited, but until then, we still have to deal with his dumbass attempts at making Peter into a goblin, the goblin who laughs, all of this stupid bullshit. We don't have time tonight to break down the full issue. If you guys would like me to, we can probably do it next week. But what I really want to bring here is the resolution to this current Spider-Man Who Laughs arc. So again, Ed McGuinness, you just keep killing it on art. Don't you change a goddamn thing about what you're doing, because you are just the best. But this issue basically has, it turns into Peter and Norman versus the spirit of the goblin. Right? So it's not Norman Osborn who's evil. It's this other pseudo personality that's in him. They're using the spear. They're trying to capture it. They're trying to get it all to go away. In the end, the way they defeat him is, so the Green Goblin jumps into Peter's mind. And in Peter's mind, he sort of just realizes, like, oh yeah, like, I'm coming for you. I'm coming for your soul. But then we get this splash page where he sort of just is confronted by how good Peter is as a hero, and then he just evaporates. Like, I'm not shitting you. Here so Peter gets into this tangle with the goblin. What have you done? You've trapped me in here. And Peter says, you want it? Bring it. You want my body? Have it. And then we get this little flashback where it sort of just recaps his life, about who he is as a person. And then the goblin goes, and he just explodes. He has no room in Peter's heart or mind. And then he tries to float back to Norman, and he disappears. So Zeb Wells essentially just took out the goblin, left Norman around, and that is where we are at. Again, absolutely stupid resolution to an absolutely stupid storyline that nobody was... I have found nobody who thought that this was interesting. Nobody who went, oh man, good guy goblin. I'm so in for this. Holy shit, everybody. We gotta... Like, please give me the next issue. Everybody thought this was lame. Everybody thought this was predictable. And this was sort of, I guess this is the only out Wells could take that wasn't just making Norman evil again. But that begs the question, like, why even do this in the first place? Why even try to do the storyline in the first place? Another thing that really bugs me about all of this, hell yeah, volume dealer. I agree with that. Ed should be the default look of modern Marvel. That's why, hey, I recommend going and reading Deadpool Volume 2, because he was the lead artist on that book back in the day, and it is really, really fun. But more to the point, I just, more than how stupid it is that the Green Goblin gets beaten, not by even any sort of psychic battle, but by just going, oh, Peter's a good person. Like, he knows that. That's the entire fucking point of wanting Peter. He says in this issue, Norman, I don't want you, I want Peter because he's a good soul that I can corrupt and take. What really bugs me is that this is essentially just a shitty version of Superior Spider-Man. Literally, villain programs a device to overwrite Peter's brainwaves, tries to take over Peter's life and take it for his own, is eventually defeated by just the good memories of who Peter Parker is, eventually ends with the villain at the root of the entire event or the entire saga not existing anymore. This is literally a condensed version of Superior Spider-Man. And like, look, I'm a Superior Spider-Man apologist. I admit that. A lot of you guys know I don't like the slot stuff. I like the Gage stuff. To that end, I can admit the slot stuff with Superior was pretty shitty. This somehow manages to undercut that. This is somehow shittier than that. So I don't know how that works out, but ta-da, congratulations, Zeb Wells. You did it again. The other, before we leave tonight, the one other thing I wanted to touch on, because I think this is probably like one of the more important things we probably should have talked about, but yeah, I don't know why I didn't bring this up or like at the beginning. So we've documented this a lot, how the Marvel Spider editorial room does not, they have some weird up their own vendetta against the Spider MJ marriage. They love One More Day. They will never undo it. They were, you know, to the example I have on the screen, in a lot of the Spider-Man books, when they get letters saying, hey, we would actually kind of like this, hey, could you undo One More Day? We've documented over this show that, you know, Nick Lowe and all them just go, piss off. Oh, well, okay, not that mean, but that's essentially the attitude is, lots of people like it. You're just like, you know, oh, well, we're sticking with it. Sorry. I don't think I felt any more insulted than I did in this week's issue. So I want to point to, we're not going to read it all, but this big chunk of text right here that starts with, Dear Mr. Lowe, I am Daniel, a 17-year-old Spidey fan from Manila, which is the capital of the Philippines. So it's this long-ass letter, goes all the way over to here, right? And he talks about how, you know, I've been enjoying my run, or not, let me say this. He starts by saying, like, I've been a fan. I got out of comic books a little bit. I wanted to get back in with the new Amazing Spider-Man run. I was really disappointed to see what Wells did with Paul and MJ and all that stuff. And then he goes like, yeah, I know Ultimate Spider-Man is giving us what we want, but don't you think, you know, can we talk? Like, maybe there's some development we can do here. This is just, people want to see MJ and Peter together. And he gives, look, again, it's this long, heartfelt thing. And I'll probably post it on Twitter so people can read it for themselves. Going, done. And he even compliments, like, you know, he's being way more nice. The latest Spidey Goblin saga was interesting to read, and I can't wait to see some plot lines finally concluding. All of this, and all they sent back is, we'll let Peter know he's got an open invite in the Philippines, Pedro. Thanks for writing in. Why would you even bring up his letter? Why would you print that if you're just going to just, You don't even say, like, you don't even address anything. That is the most generic, like, he's got a fan, thank you. I would feel 9,000 times. I already feel insulted just as a fan. I can't imagine how this kid, who, again, young kid, 17 years old, earnestly says, like, I tried to engage with everything. I'm open to everything. Not even an American native English, like, comic reader. He makes this try to get anything to change, and Wells just goes, or everybody just goes, no, forget it. We nah. So again, that is sort of just, that is where we are with that is where we are with Marvel Comics, with Spider-Man stuff. They're all in all, not a lot of great stuff has dropped in the last couple weeks. We did not talk tonight about the Marvel QR code X-Men line controversy. Maybe we'll get into that next week when there is more time. Again, I try to keep this stream at around 2.5 hours because that seems to be where which, not Netflix, YouTube likes me to end it so that they can promote it out to other people. If we hit 3, it starts to not like me. So with that, we are 10 minutes away from 3. So I think this is a great time to end the show for tonight. Guys, thanks for coming out and hanging out with me. I genuinely missed you guys last week. I'm so glad that I got to be able to come back and hang out with you guys, talk to you all. You know, break down the Marvel situation, break down some DC stuff, talk some anime, talk some Spider-Man, all of that good stuff. It's a highlight of my week, and I'm just glad you guys wanted to join me. So thank you guys. Hopefully I'll see you next week. On that note, if you want to see more of me before next week, you can always check out boundingintocomics.com every day for new news stories. Also check out our YouTube channel where Cider is killing it with all of that news. If you want more of me personally, you can check me out on Twitter at Kabuto Writer Mav. If you want to see me live before next week's show, you can check out the Bounding Into Comics YouTube show, the 01 stream every Wednesday night at 9 p.m. Eastern Time, where me, Jacob of Society Reviews, Jacob Smith, Josh, Nerdigans, Cider, and sometimes a special guest or two, we break down the biggest pop culture news stories of the week. So come hang out with us. And as always, you can come back here, same Mav time, same Mav channel next week for another episode of The Good, The Mav, The Ugly, where hopefully we will be able to talk about that X-Men QR code stuff. We got to talk about the Power Rangers stuff. I know we didn't get to it. That was sort of the second big headline, but we kind of got carried away. So I want to talk about that next week too, as well as anything else that comes our way. Until next time, guys, I think we're just going to sign, or what am I trying to say here? I don't have a last call for last minute news tonight. I was just way too busy. I didn't have the time to go running around clipping things. So in light of that, I am going to end this stream with a recommendation and a shameless self-promotion, if you will. So we talked about it a little bit, but Deadpool and Wolverine, actually a pretty fun movie. I'm sure we'll talk about it more over on the Bounding Into Comics channel when we get over there next week. I had a lot of fun with that movie. If you guys are looking just for a good time, especially a good Marvel time, I would highly recommend going and watching it. It's not the best movie of all time, but it's fun. It's definitely not the Renaissance of Marvel, because we all know it's sort of like a one and done sort of thing, but it's a good time. I highly recommend going and seeing it. In the aftermath of watching Deadpool and Wolverine, I went and I wrote, as you can see here on screen, a top 10 best comic book runs to read after watching the movie. Unfortunately and unsurprisingly, I let my knowledge, my geekdom, all of that stuff get the best of me, so I spent way too much time breaking down all of these runs, providing images, detailing why you should check them out. There's a lot of good stuff in here. I think, if you are like me and you walked out of Wolverine and Deadpool wanting more, these are really, if you want to find, get to know the comic book versions of those characters, this is it. So if you're up for it, if you want to go check it out, that would be really cool. It's over on Bounding Into Comics. I know there's already one reader who said thank you for the list, so I know I at least reached one person, and that, that's a win for me. But if any of you guys want to check it out, I put a lot of work into it. It'd be cool if you give it a look over. Maybe you find something you want to read after that. Who knows? But yeah, that's all I've got for you guys this week. I think we'll call it a night. I hope everybody has a great weekend. Go have some fun. Go play something you enjoy. Go read something enjoyable. Go watch something entertaining. Thank you to everybody who showed up, from Shinkai to Volume to Zero to Andrew to Hillam was here for a little bit. I know S was here for a little bit. And I know a bunch of you guys are out there in the audience, either not chatting or you watch me in the post show. So thank you guys for hanging out with me. I see all of you. I'm happy to be back, and I can't wait to see you all next week. Enough of my gushing, enough of my fanboying over my fans. Let's hit that outro, and I will see you all very soon. Take it easy.
As the creator of Mara Jade,
Wait! I am not the creator of Mara Jade, and I want you to get out of this office right now.
I'm sorry, Zeb.
No way.
You brought
No
it on
way.
You brought it on yourself.
I don't want you here.
I'm so
Out.
sorry, George. I didn't think it would go like this.
Out.
Ted, I got your voucher.
Out! There.
I'm sorry about that. I'm so sorry. We'll have him burned and
I don't even know who that guy is.